Hello, welcome back to the A Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Ameer Hamid. Joining me today will be Mauro Cesario.
Wow, it's great to be back.
I know. Jeez, buddy. You haven't been on for months, right?
I know. It's like I've been in a fucking under a rock.
For real. All right, so today we're going to do a little bit of a different episode. On the first half, it's going to be me and Mauro talking about the NBA offseason and free agency. And then in the back half, we're going to talk with Brant about the NHL. There's going to be some overlap with some of the key topics, but other than that, it's going to be pretty separate. So, Mauro, the NBA offseason has been way more intriguing than the NHL. Maybe it's just because of the athletes and how much more entertaining they are, like on and off the court.
Yeah.
But in terms of free agency, they love their being dramatic, and they really play up to it. So we're going to go through team by team and give our analysis of the moves that were made. If it's like a non-story, then we'll just brush over it. But other than that, we'll go through team by team. Starting with the Eastern Conference and the Atlanta Hawks. No moves.
Yeah, really quiet.
But I did like their draft, and they got two guys in the draft, DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish, two guys that are high upside wings. So, they're going to go with the youth movement and probably sign a veteran late. The Boston Celtics, much was made about the turmoil about Kyrie Irving and how the drama inside the locker room, and he wasn't a good teammate. Well, they weren't going to go into a rebuild. They bounced back and signed Kemba Walker to a 4-year max deal.
Yeah.
I mean, that's as great of a rebound as you can get, honestly.
I mean, you're losing a bit when you lose Kyrie, but he's definitely going to be able to fill the void. And I definitely like Enes Kanter as a pickup as well. I think he'll give a little bit more than what you got out of Horford.
I mean, in some ways, but I think Horford's such a better all-around player. And with the Celtics, there's the argument that, well, with the turmoil that Kyrie caused, that they're almost going to be a better team just from a chemistry standpoint. But I don't know if I totally agree with that, because then you're saying, well, Kyrie and Kemba are basically the same player, which I disagree with, even though their numbers are very similar. I still think that, when the going gets tough, Kyrie can get you a bucket, like getting to the rim way easier than Kemba can. But, it's one of those things that we'll have to wait and see during the regular season and into the playoffs with how they gel and their chemistry-wise. But I think the big drop-off is Enes Kanter to Al Horford, just because Horford does all the little things, and he's so good defensively that, getting Enes Kanter at what, I think it was 2 years, $10 million. Like, it's as good of a deal that they could have gotten. I mean, except for I think they would have rather Kevon Looney if he was only going to get 3 years, 15. So Kanter, he's going to give you maybe similar stuff offensively, but defensively, I think it's a massive downgrade. Moving on, the Brooklyn Nets. Probably the team that had the most intriguing offseason so far.
Yep. They're the winners. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Exactly. Well, unless one of these teams get Kawhi. I mean, but
yeah.
Philly, the Nets are the winners, like, in the next couple of years. But I don't know if we can call them a winner this year, because I don't know if they're really that much better this year, because the jump from D'Angelo Russell to Kyrie Irving, I don't think it's
their numbers are really comparable. I was looking at it. They average like similar numbers, but obviously Kyrie's a little bit more experienced. He's done it over a longer period of time. This was kind of D'Lo's breakout year.
Yep.
So I mean, in that regard, I could see where it's a little bit of a ladder.
It's a little bit of a lateral move, but then you figure in like KD in a year, or maybe somehow he comes back at into the playoffs. Like, this team's a title contender, and if you'd asked me like over the 4-year span, are they going to win a title? I would assume so.
Yeah, I think so.
The one move that I didn't like though is signing DeAndre Jordan. Like I
Me
understand
too.
that like you Kyrie, like you as in Kevin Durant and DeAndre Jordan are friends, but I think
Yeah.
Jared Allen's a better player already.
Mm-hmm.
And DeAndre Jordan's on the downside of his career, and that contract's gonna look bad. And like,
It's not.
as soon as next year, like, the thing is,
It's
no
not
team,
Lob City
yeah,
anymore.
his athleticism isn't what it was. He has no
Yeah.
back to the basket game. Uh, yeah, Jared Allen showed you that he's one of the elite shot blockers in the league. Like, there's a compilation of just him denying Blake Griffin, and it's absolutely hilarious. But the thing is, you have two centers locked up. Well, Jared Allen's a free agent in 2 years, but you have two centers now that basically do the same role. I don't
Yeah.
understand why you would do this. And if I was a team, like, I'd be calling about Jared Allen all the time because if he's available,
Yeah.
I want him.
Mm-hmm. So I just wanted to break to my point here about the whole Durant situation.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of it. Just because, like, I was watching some of the different NBA shows and their reaction to it, and basically, like, everything was in place and everything in the Warriors' power was done to try and get him to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, Curry going out on a flight to meet him.
He flew in from China all the way to New York.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Between that, Klay Thompson giving him the phone calls as they both were injured, saying, we're going to come back stronger and all that kind of stuff. I mean, aside from the one rub out they had with Draymond, whenever it was,
against
last
the Clippers
year, the year
or something?
before. Yeah, when it was against the Clippers and they basically told him, fuck off, we don't need you, we won without you. Yeah. I mean, I personally saw the Warriors as kind of like a very big, like, family built and driven team, right? Like, they're very, very close knit together, like you could see. And I think that they brought that upon Durant and he kind of just gave him the cold shoulder where it's like, yeah, I'm kind of just going to do my own thing now.
All right, I like this because we're actually on opposite sides. So I'm with KD. Yeah, I'm with KD.
No.
Yeah, because, like, okay, the thing is, over the past, how many years has he been in Golden State? 3? Yeah, three. So 3 years. He's been the best player, arguably, in the world over the last 3 years, and still people consider it Steph's team. So when he makes this move, like, I can't blame him because he's just sick of being underneath the shadow. And I think there was some quote where it was like,
it was his team in OKC.
Yeah. No. So he wants to go back to something like that.
So why did he leave in the first place? He basically used the Warriors. Like, that's what I don't get.
Yeah, why?
And it pisses me off. I get why he would do it, but, like, there's no loyalty there. They gave you the championship. They made you the player you are now. You wanted the championship. They basically put it on a platter for you, and then you walk out on them after they did everything in their power. They were even going to give him the max, right?
Yeah, the Supermax. But, like,
or the Supermax.
I don't see it. I don't see it as a problem though. Like, he wants to go play with, because look, there was some quote where it was like, no matter what Kevin Durant did, it always felt like he was a distant second fiddle to Steph Curry. Which, I mean, look, I agree because there's something between the Warriors fan base and Steph Curry that they had this bond to where, because he was drafted there when he was like, and then in the first couple of years he was playing, he was often injured. And then he was there all throughout the rise. It made a big difference it's how you create that type bond. It's the same thing with Toronto with DeRozan. The same thing that you saw with Kadri with the Leafs. Like, because you've had such a long-standing relationship with a player, it creates a stronger bond. That's something that he lacked with the Warriors fan base, and because they already had that with Curry, I felt that he just never felt that he could blossom, like, that he could grow into the Warriors are his team. Okay. And that he was always overshadowed, even though he was the best player on the team.
I'm not going to dispute that because I do think Kevin Durant is a better player than Steph Curry all around.
Yeah.
right? Like, he's the greatest shooter of all time. I get that, but all facets of the game, KD will win.
Yep.
So this brings me to my point of how KD is a bitch. Still.
Whoa. Okay.
Pardon my language, but I do not like the decision now because he has absolutely no leverage. He's injured, A, and B, his idea going into this was just to team up with people that he could win another championship with.
No, it wasn't. No.
Yes, it was.
How?
Because he could have gone to the Knicks. The Knicks had made they had done everything in their power to make sure that he was there.
No, you're wrong.
No, but here's where I don't get it because Kyrie said, "Fuck that, I'm not going to the Knicks."
Yeah.
And basically because Kyrie said no, he basically had to follow and say, "Hey, I'm not going to be able to win a championship alone in the Knicks. I got to go follow Kyrie." And then he goes out and posts on his Instagram story the whole spiel about nobody makes decisions for me, and I'm pissed.
Okay. So, you're so wrong. You're absolutely wrong. So what was your first point was that, the Knicks were trying to get him. The Knicks came out and said that they weren't willing to offer Kevin Durant a max deal.
I heard that they were.
That's not what James Dolan was saying. That, we're scared about Kevin Durant's Achilles injury and that because of it, we're not comfortable going to
I heard that the Knicks didn't want to waste a year and pay him a year to just sit on the bench.
Instead, they're going to now pay Julius Randle and stuff. But
it's just a whole nother problem in itself. But we'll get to that after.
Look, if Kevin Durant was all about winning a championship, look, all he wanted to do was team up with some of his friends in the NBA. That's it. Okay. Because he grew a bond with Kyrie Irving and DeAndre Jordan through Team USA. Mm-hmm. And if KD was all about like securing the bag and all about winning a championship, why would he give up? Him and Kyrie both took less so that DeAndre Jordan could get $10 million a year.
Okay,
come on. I don't
agree with the decision to go to the Nets.
I think it's because look, he was like, okay, I can't play for this entire year. Kyrie has family connections to the Nets. Like, I want to say like his brother-in-law or something is with. There's some connection towards the Nets. So, and he's also from New Jersey, so it makes sense to why Kyrie wanted to go to the Nets. And then, he might have felt that like, okay, I'm not playing all year. I owe it to Kyrie kind of to go there instead. If he goes to the Knicks, the Knicks they weren't even comfortable with his injury and paying him the max money. Like, I don't know whether it's a spin on whether or not they don't feel comfortable because Kevin Durant says no. You know what I mean? Like, because he said no, let's put spin on it. Be like, oh, because of his injury, that's why we didn't offer him a max, and that's why we didn't get him, right? So, I don't know if it's because of that, but I don't think that it's this whole thing is just because Kevin wants to win a championship, and like in terms of he wants to create this next super team. Like, if he wanted to create a super team, he would have stayed with Golden State, because that team was literally unstoppable. Because you would take Draymond over DeAndre Jordan. At the two guard, there's no comparison between Karis LeVert and Klay Thompson, and Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving. Shut the fuck up. Kyrie's got 1 championship. Steph's got 3.
Yeah. I mean, okay, here's my question.
Sure.
He's injured all of next year. Why not just cash the check and take your player option?
Because
if you're knowing that you're going to be out next year anyway, and then just go through the whole scenario next year.
Because in that scenario, you're not securing your financial future.
I mean, sure, but he's only got what, a 4-year deal is the max you can get.
But
right?
see, then okay, so if you take your player option, 1, it's less money than what you would be getting this year. 2, it's you're doing the Warriors wrong in a way, because if you're just gonna get to sit out the year on their dime, then bolt in a year, like then that's
he did it anyway.
But he didn't in a way, because so Kevin Durant, he had to, with the Warriors getting D'Angelo Russell, Kevin Durant had to approve the sign and trade.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
So he respected the Warriors enough to allow
Where
them.
he didn't
They didn't
them,
lose the asset. They didn't lose
they
the
didn't
asset.
lose the asset completely. They recouped it and get
Yes,
everything.
because they're over the cap. That if they just lost Kevin Durant, they would have just lost him. And in this scenario, they can get D'Angelo Russell the asset and then trade him down the line, which is what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I mean he's not completely shafting them, but I mean I still hate the decision of him going to the Knicks.
Okay. Also, like I was listening to, I want to say it was the Hoop Collective podcast with Brian Windhorst, and he was like, or someone on the podcast was like, Kevin Durant. He had the closest relationship, or maybe it was the Woj podcast, but the closest relationship Kevin Durant had in the front office was to Bob Myers, the president. Mm-hmm. So more than any of the players or any of that. So I found that interesting. The fact that, I also think the injury had a lot to deal with Kevin Durant leaving. I do. Like that was kind of like the last straw, I think, because like everyone knew that Kevin Durant was leaning towards leaving, and he moved his media company to New York from San Francisco. So then everyone's like, okay, so he's
going to New York.
Yeah, so that's a sign that he's leaving. But because of all the things that we've been seeing throughout the season with how Kevin's not happy and all this stuff was leaking out. And then with the injury, like how the Warriors handled the injury, I thought had to deal so much with, like, I just thought it was awful because you saw with Boogie and how when he got injured against the Clippers, I think they said he was out indefinitely. And then when KD gets injured, it's like, oh, he's coming back. He could come back for Game 7 against the Rockets. Oh, he could come back for the Blazers series. Games 1 or Games 2. Oh, maybe Game 3 or Game 4 of that series. And then the same thing with the Raptors in the finals. And then when he finally comes back, it's like he was pressured the entire time to come back. So I just thought that, like, the way they handled it, it wasn't cool. Also, the doctor that handled Kevin Durant's Achilles surgery is one of the physicians on the Brooklyn Nets. So
that's the one thing I'll give him, though, because he could have easily just not played in the final, could have just took his sweet ass time trying to recover, but he battled, and I'll give him that. He battled his way back under all the pressure in the world that they put on him, saying you're not actually injured, hurry up and get your ass back onto the court. And he plays whatever it was, 12 minutes, put up 11 points in those 12 minutes, and he goes off injured after with the torn Achilles. So
exactly. That's why I was so shocked about your stance. Oh, KD's a bitch. I'm like, what? Also, the Warriors handled that. When he came back, they were like, oh, there's no minutes restriction. He plays 12 of the first 14 minutes. I'm like, what are we? What? Like, yes, he looked incredible when he was out there, but come on, no minutes restriction.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it was a bit of a stretch to call him a bitch, but I mean, I'm still very, 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 very upset and just that he went to the Nets. Like, I'm appalled. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's gonna. I'm biased towards the Raptors, obviously.
Yeah,
and
fuck
challenge
Brooklyn
for the division.
Brooklyn.
So yeah, fuck Brooklyn.
Fuck
the whole
Brooklyn.
mantra's been there since 5 years ago, however long it was.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on for Brooklyn. Jesus. The Charlotte Hornets. So they lose Kemba Walker. And then in the sign and trade, they signed Terry Rozier. What was it? 3 years, $58 million or something?
Yeah, that was a lot of money.
Which makes no sense. It's like, oh, you're not willing to pay Kemba Walker, but you're willing to pay Terry Rozier, who's not proven a significant amount of money. It's like you weren't willing to pay Kemba even the max on, like the regular max on a 5-year deal, but you're willing to pay Terry Rozier an amount of money that won't put you into the luxury tax, I guess. Like, I think like this ownership group and Michael Jordan, like, that's so cheap. Like, Kemba's done so much for you, and you can't even give him like the regular max. Like, what?
I know.
And also Terry Rozier, like, who the hell knows why? Who's offering him 3 years, $58 million to sign?
It's it's definitely shit for them because you're losing your point guard. He's a perennial all-star.
He's the best player in Charlotte Hornets history.
In Hornets history, exactly.
Yeah.
And they basically gave him the shaft and said, "Yeah, sorry. Is it a matter of that they couldn't afford it? I don't think it was. It's just that they didn't bother to try and re-sign him."
No, it's because they make shitty moves so that if they would have signed him, they would have been in the tax, and then they would have had to pay that because they have shitty contracts of Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, Marvin Williams, Cody Zeller. Like they're paying guys the worst contract. Like they have some of the worst contracts in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And
I mean, if you're gonna throw a shitty contract out to somebody, at least make it your best player in franchise history.
Exactly. And that's why I kind of felt like this was like when Chris Bosh left the Raptors, because he was the best player that stayed with us for like the longest amount of time of anyone, and then to see him go to the Miami Heat, even though like it wasn't such a dramatic move as like Kemba going to the Celtics, it still sucked for a long time.
Yeah.
What's the
next? Bulls are next.
Yeah, they didn't do much.
Not much.
Thaddeus Young, he's a good vet, but the thing about that is, I don't know, he's not going to start because they have a good young front court with Wendell Carter and Lauri Markkanen, so it's not a bad move, but he's going to be like a role player for them. I would assume. Thomas Satoransky's not a bad role player either. Cavs, no moves. I like their draft with Darius Garland, but I think that like they have a problem with they drafted now in back-to-back drafts 2 young point guards, Colin Sexton and now Darius Garland. Who the hell is your point guard? Because those are 2 point guards. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that could be like the LA situation where they trade one of them, like because when they drafted D'Angelo and then they drafted Lonzo and then they got rid of D'Angelo because they drafted Lonzo. So who knows? The Detroit Pistons, they signed Derrick Rose to a 2-year, $15 million deal. That was interesting. I think that's it's a
good for him.
Exactly. I think it's a good move just because you lost Ish Smith. So if Reggie Jackson, he's such an off and on player that if you have to start Derrick Rose for a couple of games or for the season, like he's fine, he's adequate. The Indiana Pacers, I thought the Pacers had one of the best off seasons of anyone. On the draft, they traded for TJ Warren, who's a good, like he scored I think 18 points a game on a shitty Phoenix Suns team, and then to trade for him for a 2nd round pick, I want to say, and then to add Jeremy Lamb and Malcolm Brogdon. Malcolm Brogdon, like,
yeah,
I thought at times in that Bucks series that he was their 2nd best player just because he's so damn consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were
making timely shots, man,
yeah, like, and if you were gonna keep one guy on the Bucks, I would have almost rather you kept Brogdon than Middleton for the price that you would have to pay, because you paid Middleton, geez, I want to say it's like 5 by 180, and by 178, and then Brogdon got doesn't say great, but it was
85 million.
Yeah, 4 by 85. Like, it's a lot of money, but he's a heady player.
He's the rookie of the year.
Yeah, but 2 years ago. But like,
I know he's got injuries in between that, but
he's such a solid, smart player. Pro. Like he has the nickname the president for a reason. Like he's a really intelligent kid. That, I mean, I think he shot 50% from the field, 49% from 3, and 90% from the free throw line. So I think because you have a player like Giannis to where he has the ball so much that by being able to kick it out to shooters like Middleton and Brogdon, that was the key for that team. And to lose a player of that and you gain only like a 1st round pick in the future, like that's I don't think that's good asset management. And like, if you're Giannis, you're like, I lose arguably my 2nd or 3rd best player. How does this look? And Giannis to Toronto 2021, let's get it.
I mean, sure, I'm all for it. I mean,
They had to keep Middleton, but
yeah.
it's one of those contracts where I don't like it, but I like it. Like, you have to keep him, but it's going to be at a price where it's far too much money.
I mean, he'll go right along with Oladipo. He'll play the one and
No, I'm talking. Oh yeah,
Oladipo
we're talking about India.
on the
I was
pay-
talking
the
about
pay-
Middleton. Yeah.
I definitely like where the Pacers are going. Like,
Agreed.
It's a great move.
Yeah.
They picked up Lamb, and I mean, hey, they're right in the.
They're in the
fourth
mix,
or
man.
fifth last
Because
year. Yeah.
you realize that they can set like a lineup of Brogdon at the 1, Oladipo at the 2, Lamb at the 3, Warren at the 4, and then Turner at the 5. Like that's a nice, like that would be their version of like a death lineup, and like it's not obviously the Warriors death lineup, but it's super intriguing.
Yeah.
From like it's like an NBA Twitter one where it's like, oh, everyone can switch positions basically and shoot threes. So it's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm all for the Pacers and what they did. It's real good. Next we got Miami. They made a couple big moves.
Yeah.
Fuck.
So Miami gets Jimmy Butler on a 4-year max deal. And the entire time I was like, what the fuck? The Sixers gave Tobias Harris 5 by 180, and they couldn't give Jimmy Butler the 5 by 190 or whatever the max was. And lo and behold, that Philly offered him the 5-year max, and he's like, nope, I want to go live in Miami and play for the Heat. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's a great get for Miami because not only did you get him on a contract and he's in Miami, but it's also only a 4-year deal. And with a guy in his 30s, like, you control the risk to a certain amount.
Yeah. I mean, from his standpoint, though, I don't really see how this makes sense. Like, I feel like he's basically said, yeah, I'm fine with not winning anymore.
Yeah, and, like, I don't know. I don't blame a guy. Well, the idea is that they build around him, and
sure.
I don't blame him for prioritizing like his quality of life over winning. Like, why is that so bad? Like, that's where I say, oh, if Kawhi goes to the Clippers, I'm like, well, he's prioritizing his quality of life over winning. He's happy that.
But I feel like Jimmy Butler's been that kind of player who really expects a lot of his teammates.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of those guys that, everybody says he's a cancer, but I don't really think he is, in the sense that he just expects a lot of his teammates.
Yeah, it's like you have a
LeBron
job
mentality.
Yeah, it's like you have a job to do. Let's go out and do it. You're getting paid for a reason, and you'll get on, guys.
Him moving on from, a title contender and a really up and coming team like the 76ers now to the Heat is kind of like a real step back from him going on to win a championship. And I mean, yeah, like you said, maybe his priority was to, match his standard of living or put that as a higher priority. And I mean, still, he's 29. As much as I don't like it from his perspective, I mean, sure, it's his decision, but I can't see this team winning anytime soon, right?
No, but they could be like a feisty, low seed playoff team.
I guess.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I agree. Like, it was head scratching in a way, and it was always funny seeing there was I want to say it was a GQ spread like back in the day of one thing Jimmy Butler would never want to wear, and it was like a Miami Heat jersey.
A Miami Heat jersey.
Yeah. So that was always that was a funny little tidbit. They ship out Whiteside, which is nice because he turned from like a good contract to an awful contract real quick. Like, Whiteside had a hot like year and a half, and then everyone soured on him. And I mean, it's insurance for the Blazers to where, with Nurkic coming off the injury, the broken leg, that Whiteside can at least step in, and he's a capable starter, and it's also I think it's only a 1-year deal, right? Let's move on to the Bucks. So the Bucks bring back
a lot of people.
Middleton, Lopez, George Hill, and then they add Robin Lopez and Wesley Matthews. All right. So Middleton and keeping Middleton and Lopez is huge because Lopez you got at a deal like you think he could have gotten more than 4 years, 55 I think it was. But because it was such a good fit with Giannis that I don't blame him for staying there. Middleton, it's a bad contract, but you have to give it because there's no way to improve your team otherwise. Like you can't just let an asset leave. That's why I had such a problem with what Charlotte did, because if you were just gonna let Kemba walk, why don't you trade him at the trade deadline? I don't understand.
Yeah.
That's just a shitty way of managing your team. George Hill is a good backup point guard.
Yeah.
Robin Lopez is a solid backup big. And Wesley Matthews, it's a downgrade on Brogdon, but he's if Middleton goes out with an injury or he can step in because he's a solid 3-and-D player. So getting Wesley Matthews, I think, is a great get. The Bucks are basically just running it back minus Brogdon, but I think Brogdon's huge. Like, I don't know.
He's a big. I think he'll prove to be a big loss. Because he was such a great 3-point shooter, even in the Raptors series. Like, damn,
unconscious.
He fucking miss.
Yeah, it was unconscious. It was nuts. To the New York Knicks.
Oh, yeah, baby. Knicks Nation.
Let's get it. All right. So you miss out on,
everybody.
Yeah. Yeah. You trade Kristaps Porzingis for that extra cap slot. And you waive Joakim Noah and stretched him for absolutely no reason now. Not for no reason. You signed Julius Randle, Bobby Portis, Taj Gibson, Reggie Bullock, Alfred Payton, and Wayne Ellington. You know what? Like, if they had gotten Kevin Durant and made these signings, I would like it because you signed you signed solid veterans,
great role players.
Exactly.
Right?
Except these guys are starting on your team, and you're
steady guys, and now these guys are all the starters.
Yeah, I'm like, man, RJ Barrett does not deserve this. Come back to Toronto now.
Damn.
I feel for Knicks fans now, man. Like, I don't like Brooklyn. I don't know. I'd rather see the Knicks be good just because it'd be a hilarious storyline.
The Knicks have always been the laughing stock, and this is just another reason why.
Exactly.
Because ever since that Bargnani trade that they did with the Raptors, I've always scratched my head at a lot. I've always scratched my head at a lot of the things they've done. Right? Especially when they moved on from Porzingis last year at the deadline, I was in big shock. I'm like, okay, they're obviously going for big things in the upcoming offseason, and things just didn't pan out because now you're without Kristaps and you're without any of the 2 or 3 big free agents that you were after come 2 days
exactly.
ago.
So you move on from Kristaps because you're like, oh, we're getting Kyrie and KD. So to have the 2 max slots, we've got to trade Kristaps, and then to get none. Oh my God. Like, James Dolan, no one wants to come play for you. No, except for Temi Panarin. He wants to come play for you.
Yeah, I know.
But he wants to come play for the Rangers. He doesn't want to come play for James Dolan.
The Rangers basically saved New York from what could have been a complete debacle in that whole sports city's summer. Like, that Panarin signing.
I mean, yes and no, because the Knicks are way bigger than
obviously,
yeah.
But I mean, at least it
gave them something. Yeah, agreed. Knicks fans, I'm sorry. Maybe Giannis in 2021. You'll clear max cap space for him to tell you no.
Again, yes.
For him to tell you no. Orlando, what the fuck are you doing?
I don't know. Yeah.
How many wings do you need? You re-signed Terrence Ross. That's fine. 4 years, 54. I think I want to say. Vucevic, you signed to a max deal for 100. How's that a max deal? NBA.com. Get your shit right. There's no way 4x100 is a max deal. It's got to be more.
25.
Yeah,
yeah. Right.
Al-Farouq Aminu signs with the Magic and Michael Carter Williams. All right.
Mm-hmm.
At the wing, I want to say they have Aaron Gordon, Jonathan Isaac, Terrence Ross, Al-Farouq Aminu. Mm-hmm. They drafted a guy in the draft, Okiki from Auburn, who tore his ACL, so I guess he's out. But like, they have so many wing guys that they don't have any like great ones, but they have a ton of good ones. And then I don't understand the Vucevic signing really. Like, I thought he was a guy that you should have dealt at the trade deadline. I guess making the playoffs for the first time since Dwight Howard was traded, that was a big deal. But I don't. The Magic are in like purgatory right now, to where you're not good enough. You're not bad enough to get a great draft pick if you tank, and you're not good enough to win a title. Like, that's something that I feared with the Raptors, to where if we lose Kawhi, like, I want us to like tank for 1 year and then come back.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be.
I think they're gonna be like middling, just like median level.
I feel it's gonna be a big couple years of mediocrity if Kawhi leaves and.
We'll talk later. We'll talk about it later. But like,
well, they're coming up soon. So
but like the Magic, what you just drafted Mo Bamba number 5 overall, not this past year, but the year before, and you re-signed Vucevic to a 4-year deal, like that. It's just not good asset management, in my opinion. Any thoughts or no?
Pardon, on what?
On Orlando.
I mean, they were the 7th seed last year against the Raptors.
Yep.
And
they're a solid team.
They're a solid team, but I mean, unless you've got,
there's no transcendent guys on that roster.
There's no guy on this team with a real killer instinct.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, the guy with the highest upside on their roster is probably Jonathan Isaac.
Mm-hmm.
But he still can't shoot, so who knows? Let's move on to the Philadelphia 76ers. Okay.
They did a
lot. So Al Horford signs with let's go in order here. So Tobias Harris re-signed.
They re-signed Tobias Harris.
I think this is the same as the middle.
5 by 180.
Actually, I think that I would rather have Middleton than Tobias Harris. 100%.
I think Middleton's a little bit more clinical.
Like, there was times in that Philadelphia series against the Raptors where I watched Harris and he absolutely disappeared.
Well, that's the thing.
And I think in like that game 4 that the Raptors won on the road in Philly, Tobias Harris shot like 1 for 12 from 3 or something ridiculous. Like, I don't think that he's a max money player, and especially not at 5 years. Like, he's getting paid annually $36 million.
That's a lot of money for a guy now that is basically going to have to step up and do the work Jimmy Butler did.
And he's not that level player.
He's from a leadership standpoint too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're putting a lot of pressure on this guy, and I didn't see it in the playoffs, at least in that Raptors series, that he's got what it takes to step up as both a leader and then, as a guy who's going to score on this team.
That's the thing. Like, I would argue I would rather have paid like
the money to Jimmy Butler.
Oh, 100%. But also, like, I think Josh Richardson's arguably a better player than Tobias Harris, honestly, who they got from Miami in the in the Jimmy Butler swap, basically.
Well, that's the thing. They also lost JJ Redick. He went
which I love that move. But like, I hate who is making a perimeter shot on this team in crunch time. It's so tough for big men to create a shot that like you can't necessarily rely on Embiid in late. You definitely can't rely on Simmons because he can't shoot. Josh Richardson is creating you a shot, not real. Like, he's Al Horford's not. Tobias Harris isn't.
You're putting a lot of pressure on Tobias Harris now, and I haven't seen it.
Yeah. And there's rumors coming out that basically Philly and Ben Simmons are going to agree on a 5-year max. So unless Ben Simmons creates a shot, I don't understand how this team can become multi-dimensional. Honestly, like if he can't hit an outside shot, then this team, like,
it can excel if people on the team, especially the young ones, aren't going to work on their game, right? He needs to develop a shot.
And the thing is, like, people are arguing that Philly improved. I think Philly took a massive hit. Like, Horford is a phenomenal role player. He's a phenomenal role player.
Yeah.
Like, but the place where you guys needed help wasn't on defense. Your defense was already elite.
Yeah.
That's what Horford is like. Him and Marc Gasol are similar. He's got Marc Gasol's like skill set in like Pascal's body, kind of like. It's different where
sure.
I don't know how I love the fit of the two big guys also. People are saying Horford is a natural 4, which sure he probably is, but him heading into, I think he's turning he's 32 or something, and he's played a long time, like a lot of playoff games from when back in Atlanta and now with Boston. Like that deal's not going to age great. And I don't like it because you lost like one of the best shooters in the NBA with JJ Redick. You lost a bucket maker in Jimmy Butler. Like we saw as soon as Jimmy Butler was traded to the 76ers that he was taking those end of the game shots. Like there was that one that he hit against Brooklyn, the shot that he hit with like 1 second left. And then against the Raptors when Kawhi misses the free throw and then Jimmy Butler sprints down with the layup. Like Jimmy Butler is the guy that you trust in crunch time. I don't know who that guy is on Philly.
They don't have a guy with clinical killer instinct.
No.
And you need that in the NBA, especially come playoff time, right? Like we've seen it time and time again that you got to put the ball in somebody's hands. Mm-hmm. And if you need a 3-pointer, God forbid you need a 3-pointer to tie a game or to win the game on a last buzzer-beating shot, you don't have anybody on this team that's going to be able to shoot it.
Exactly. Like, so you look at the Raptors in Game 7. Do you remember when it was a 1-point game with like 40 seconds left, and the Raps call a timeout, and then they drop the play for Pascal, and he goes against Draymond, and he gets a bucket on the inside. I don't know if Simmons can get that shot because guys don't need to come out to the perimeter and defend you because you can't. You don't need to defend him.
You don't have anything that will make them scared.
Exactly. It's like, if you shoot a mid-range jump shot, I'm fine with that.
It's basically the defense is going, okay, go ahead, shoot it, do it. Mm-hmm. Because it's.
But the weird thing is, on paper, even with these moves, you could still argue that Philly's the best team in the East because of the uncertainty with Toronto. And the Bucks losing Brogdon, there's a lot of parity, and that's why
it's not Brooklyn's yet, just because of the injury.
Yep, agreed.
How will they all gel together?
Yep.
It's yet to be seen. So yeah, it's definitely up in the air. There's a lot of good teams now. Like it was only Raptors and Bucks last year. They were the two highest in the whole league, and then it just fell off a little bit. Still good competitive teams, but from a record standpoint, it was them two, and then third would have been
third was Philly.
Third last Philly, right? So they what I noticed was the trend in this whole free agency was that the good elite players basically just flip between the same 5 or 6 teams. Like one went from Boston to Brooklyn to the Lakers to the Warriors to the I don't know who else, the 76ers, right? Like they all just went from one team to the other. And it's just about a matter of who will gel now.
Yep.
So it's going to be interesting.
That's why I hope that Kawhi just don't go to the Lakers. Because if Kawhi doesn't go to the Lakers, then it's actually wide open, the NBA.
100%.
Because Will the Lakers be the favorite? Probably going into next year.
You're talking about,
but
let's say that Kawhi doesn't go to the Lakers. You're talking about the original Warriors matched up against a LeBron and AD.
But the original Warriors, they're out basically all this year because Klay's out.
That's fair. But all you got to do is make it, and then assuming he's fully healthy.
Yep. If he gets healthy in the playoffs, right.
It's the original Warriors that you had win.
Without Harrison Barnes, he's a competent NBA player.
Fair.
And no Andre Iguodala. Exactly. Well. So they're a weakened team, and maybe I'll talk about it later when we get to the Warriors. But like, look, there's if I told you that Kawhi stays on Toronto, who could win the title next year? You'd say Toronto, the Lakers, Philly, Milwaukee, Boston. If Tatum and Brown take another step,
Brooklyn. Would we say Brooklyn in the event?
I would say no,
KD's
just because
back?
I don't think KD's coming back yet.
Okay,
that's why I would say no.
Everybody's already saying 2020.
That's what I mean.
2021 for him.
You came back too early, and you suffered one of the worst injuries in sports. Let's take an L on this season and then move on. Yeah, in the Houston, Houston could.
Houston can compete.
The Nuggets. Utah made a hell of a lot of moves. That's a deep team now.
Utah
is turning into like Toronto of last year, except they don't really have a Kawhi.
Yeah.
But they're a real team. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
The NBA is going to be extremely interesting as long as we don't get this super team.
Yeah.
And that's what you hope for. What team were we talking about?
We're
Philly?
Finished. Yeah, we're on Philly.
Okay, we're done with Philly. Toronto.
Next we got
Toronto. No moves made yet. So Danny Green's been getting interest from the Clippers, Lakers, Mavericks, and then Toronto. So Toronto only really wants to go 1 year with Danny, to keep the cap space open.
And he hasn't really committed to anything other than once Kawhi makes his decision, so will I.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that Dallas is coming at Danny hard.
Mm-hmm.
But he wants to run it back with Kawhi, and he's gonna wait on his decision. So the interesting. I mean, the thing that we have to talk about is obviously what the hell does Kawhi do, right?
Well, sure. It's only been the biggest thing this team has been talking about as soon as we made the trade.
It's like, if you beat Philly, then if you make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, then maybe he'll stay. If you make it to the NBA Finals, he'll stay. If you win the Finals, he's definitely going to stay. Or
Toronto won the jackpot with everything. They won everything they could have asked for with Kawhi, right? They won the biggest jackpot possible, and now it's a matter of, is he gonna stay?
Yeah,
right.
And
there's no better thing that could have happened to this city in order to have convinced him to stay.
And in a way, it's also like, whatever agenda you have, the narrative can fit it, because it's like, Kawhi just won a championship. There's no way he can leave. And then there's the other side where, Kawhi,
he's done everything
Kawhi's exactly. Boom.
It's such a toss-up.
That's why,
because both make so much sense.
No one knows.
A lot of it's bullshit. It's just narrative trying to make it seem as if one team's got the advantage over the other. A lot of it's been coming from the Lakers, which I've kind of been.
It's like,
with,
man,
but I mean,
that's the one thing. Kawhi, why the fuck do you want to go to the Lakers other than the fact that it's the Lakers? Magic Johnson just told you that the guy that's running the Lakers now is a snake. Why would you want to go to that organization? Like, if you went to the Clippers, fine, because that fits your agenda. It's not a super team. It's in LA. It'll be your team. Fine. You won here, go home. Thank you for all you've done, and I'm happy that you're happy, basically. But if you go to the Lakers, do you want to be around the as Gennady Golovkin would call it, big drama show? That's what it is.
Big drama show. It's a shit show in
Fuck,
the
like,
Lakers.
why would you want to be around? Like, it's gonna piss me off so much if he signs there. And
I'm fine if he goes anywhere but the
anywhere
Lakers.
but the Lakers.
Because it's just like you said, it's a big drama show. There's so much freaking attention that they give to that team.
And then we basically go back to what we've had for the last 5 years in the NBA, where we know the team that's going to get to the finals and probably win it.
Yeah.
And that's not fun. I don't know. Like, the thing that was fun about this year is the Warriors were beatable because of their injuries. But even still, people
luck was on Toronto's side. Yeah.
And even still, people are like, "Oh, well, it's because that the Warriors were injured." Yeah, well, no shit. Like that, we all complained about how the Warriors were stacking up everyone on their team, but then once someone actually beats them, it's like, "Oh, well, you won because of that."
Well, put an asterisk beside Toronto's
It's like every title has an asterisk. God damn it! It's like, oh, the Warriors titles with Kevin Durant. That's an asterisk because Kevin Durant shouldn't have left Oklahoma City to create a super team. The Cavs title. If Draymond doesn't kick LeBron in the nuts, they don't win the title. The year before that, the Warriors' first title. If Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love play, the Cavs win the title, or the Warriors don't win it 6 at least. Like there's, everyone can find a loophole with every goddamn title.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just back to the Kawhi thing. Like, the one thing I've realized and noticed is that the Masai camp, the Toronto management,
saying nothing.
They said not a word.
Nothing.
So I don't know if that's a good thing.
Oh, that's
or a really or a bad
that's a
thing,
great
right?
thing.
Like,
I
think it's a big strategic ploy on the part of the Raptors.
No,
because it fits his type, right? Like, he doesn't like the whole drama and the whole scene that comes with
Kawhi
it.
has said that loyalty is the biggest thing, and who's going to show? The Clippers can absolutely show you loyalty, but everything that's coming out is from people like. So that Lakers insider, I'm sure that he knows people within the Lakers organization. Sure, he probably does, but that clearly shows you that there's a leak within the organization that people talk shit. Because people on the outside are hearing this, right? You know what I mean? Like, the Raptors have done everything right. And if the Raptors were in LA, Kawhi would be back on this team. 100%. It's the only thing of whether or not he's happy staying here. And, like, who knows?
Yeah. Who's this guy that they picked up?
All right, so I like him. Like, I was looking at the numbers, and all right, let me look up. So Synergy, which is big NBA statistical analysis, analytical databases. So Matt Thomas was arguably the top shooter outside of the NBA last season, with an effective field goal percentage of 82% on catch and shoot jump shots. And
so a spot up guy.
Yeah, and on uncontested shots, guess what he shot from the field?
If he was pulling up at, what was it,
82%.
2?
He shot 99. He shot 99% on the unguarded 3-point shots.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm like,
well then.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay.
Toronto's never really had a big, reliable 3-point shooter in a long time.
I mean, Danny Green, but like, yes, no, I agree.
He didn't have it in the finals and the playoffs. But
he's hit and miss. No, I know. So like, ideally, if he can be like a Marco Bellinelli, even, or I would say like,
now we're going way back.
Or I would say like, look at Joe Harris on Brooklyn.
Sure. Yeah, he's really reliable.
Or like,
did he win? Did he win?
Yeah, he did. I'm pretty sure he did.
Yeah.
Or like poor man's JJ Redick. I would absolutely take that because like his MO is he's not a great athlete and he's not a great defender. I'm like, oh, so he could be poor man's
like
JJ
Redick.
Redick.
Nova.
Yeah. Oh god.
Like a Steve Nova.
No. Steve was like 7 feet goddamn tall. He's like 6.
I know, but all he could do was shoot.
Yeah. No, Jason Capono.
Okay.
What other moves do we have? The Wizards, the Wizards got a.
Oh, they made some moves.
Yeah, they actually thought they were getting Masai Ujiri. What?
Ah, fuck them. The night of the freaking final.
Fuck Woj, come on.
Woj, yeah. The reports that the Wizards are in and trying to make an active pursuit for Masai Ujiri. Like, let us have our moment. Fuck
and
off.
then to put out the statement that, oh, we never asked for permission. It's like, yes, you never asked for permission, but Masai told you no. So I like Thomas Bryant, who they re-signed. Ish Smith is a solid point guard, and Isaiah Thomas. So basically, they're taking here's Ish Smith and Isaiah Thomas to fill in this year for John Wall. But man, I think the Wizards got to go through like a full rebuild, man. You got to move Bradley Beal.
You think it's got to be Beal?
Who the hell else is it? There's no one else on the team.
One of at least him or John Wall.
John Wall is the worst contract in the NBA. So his Supermax kicks in this year.
Ooh.
And he's out for the entire year.
Well.
And let me look up his injuries. I want to say it was an ACL or an Achilles or some shit. He's out at least 12 months after a ruptured Achilles tendon.
Fuck.
Yep.
So he's not going anywhere.
No. Not at all. Yeah, exactly. So why would any team want to trade for him? Yeah. So Wizards, good luck next season. Let's move on to the West. Jeez. The Dallas Mavericks. They've had an interesting offseason.
Eventful, yeah.
So they re-signed Porzingis to a max deal. They extend Dwight Powell, the Canadian, 3 years, $33 million or something like that. JJ Barea at a minimum deal. Maxi Kleba they re-signed to deal, and then Seth Curry re-signed with the Mavs. Not re-signed, but he's returning to the Mavs. They're getting solid role players around.
They're two core guys.
Yeah. Now, the one guy that I would have absolutely loved to see on Dallas, because they didn't want to get Kemba Walker because they felt that, well, if we get Kemba, it's too many role players. It's a guy that's going to be handling the basketball and getting the ball out of Luka's hand, which is exactly what they don't want. I agree with that notion of not wanting to get him, even though it would have been nice and cool. I think Malcolm Brogdon should have been the guy that you guys got, because he's a guy that doesn't need to play on the ball, a really good defender to make up for Doncic's lack of defense. Makes jump I don't even know what I said first, but makes jump shots. He's a reliable player. He's a heady player. I think that would have been a really fun 1-2-3 of Doncic, Porzingis, Brogdon. Instead, they go the role player route, which who knows how that'll go. Like, who's the point guard on this team? I could not tell you.
I don't even know.
That's why, like, if they get Danny Green, he's their 2 guard. We know that for a fact. Doncic is the 3. Porzingis is probably the 5. Is Powell the 4? I don't know. Like, this team is still, I think
it's a work in progress, but it's good because it's a young team. They're not in a rush.
So what I would do if I was them is suck for one more year. Don't try to make the playoffs and be a low seed. Let's suck for one more year, get a really good draft pick, or get a good draft pick to where you can get your next point guard or power forward of the future, and then we just go from there.
Yeah.
That's what my thinking would be. Denver Nuggets. Jamal Murray, Kitchener native, secured the bag.
Biggest bag in Canadian history, is it not?
It definitely is. 5 years, 170. I mean, that's a move that Denver's got to do. He's your young piece next to the Joker, and we'll see how it goes. Like, if he takes another step from what he showed in the playoffs, he's worth that contract, and already he's on the level of a Tobias Harris. So I think
I got a question for you then. So is Jamal Murray, the best Canadian basketball player right now.
Who else would be?
And let's just put Andrew Wiggins just because he's
Jamal Murray
the
is
most,
better.
I'm agreeing with you there.
Yeah.
That's what my point is, because I know, Andrew Wiggins, the first overall pick, all that.
Well,
jazz
Anthony
that came
Bennett
with
did it first.
Well, he didn't last long.
Yes,
so.
No, I know. Yeah, I think Jamal Murray is 100%.
And I think he's got a little bit more drive than Wiggins.
That's
too,
what I
just
mean.
from
Like
the
he's got that it factor that Wiggins lacks.
Mm-hmm.
So,
no, I'm happy for him. He deserves it.
Golden State, all right. So they bring back Kevon Looney, 3 years, $15 million. Incredible to get him on such a cheap deal after having a breakout playoff run. They re-signed Klay Thompson to the max deal. What was it, 5 by 190 or something?
I believe so.
Yep, 5 by 190. They don't include a no trade clause and a player option because they set that precedent with Steph Curry, because they just don't do that. So, okay. And the Warriors then signed and traded for D'Angelo Russell. So Mark Stein of what is the New York Post, I think. He says that it's not a matter of not whether or not they will trade D'Angelo Russell. It's
D'Lo?
when.
Yeah.
Which, so something that was floated out there is, what if they trade D'Angelo Russell to Minnesota, to where he wanted to go, for Jeff Teague and Robert Covington at the trade deadline or something once Klay comes back? I think that makes sense, because you get your 3-and-D guy in Covington, and then you get a competent point guard off the bench, a la Shawn Livingston.
Get a 6-man.
Huh?
Do they not get like a 6-man in Jeff
Yeah,
Teague?
exactly. Like
kind of a guy that
exactly.
Iguodala.
Yeah, like you're Shawn Livingston, because he's going to retire.
Yeah.
Most likely. So I don't hate that deal for them at all, because you gotta. Who is realistically trading for D'Angelo Russell? Like, there's not a lot of teams that could. I mean, I'll interest you in a Kyle Lowry if you want. I mean, I'm totally down. Here's Serge Ibaka's expiring, and or here's Marc Gasol. There you go. Yeah. So it's the Russell contract was purely asset management, I think. Who knows if he'll even play a minute for the Warriors?
Yeah.
Because they could trade him like in August, or I wonder what the stipulations is, like when you have to wait to trade a player that you've signed.
He was a restricted, or did he get renounced? How did it work?
So he didn't get renounced because
the sign and trade needed to be facilitated.
Exactly, because the sign and trade was done.
Okay.
Yeah. So the
NHL is 1 year, isn't it? So I don't know if it goes the same across the board, but
what do you mean? You
like
can't. Yeah, like to an offer sheet.
You can't trade a guy as soon as you sign him.
I think it's weird, because when Wiggins signed his deal, they had to wait until August to trade him. But normally it's you can't wait. You can't trade a guy until like December. So maybe he will have to actually play for the Warriors. So, I mean, in the meantime, while Klay's out, it'll be really interesting to see, because in a lot of ways there's similar play styles and there's similar statures of like Steph and D'Lo, but it'll be interesting. Houston didn't do anything really. They kept Gerald Green. They kept Austin Rivers on a league minimum contract, which was a great get in my opinion. And that was funny, because the whole thing was when Chris Paul was out, they signed Austin Rivers, who Chris Paul hates. And then now they're keeping him on a league min deal. And he played incredible for them late in the playoffs. So that was surprising. The Clippers, they signed Patrick Beverley to 3 years, 45, and they got Mo Harkless in the deal.
Yeah, that's right.
The 4-team trade that got for Jimmy Butler, that whole thing. So I don't know what the Clippers are doing. Well, so the Clippers, they only have room for a max slot now, a la Kawhi. I don't know if they have room to sign a guy like Danny Green. I think they do. So if Kawhi goes there, he can go there with Danny. But wasn't the pitch that you build around him? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, why wouldn't you go out and offer sheet D'Angelo Russell and have D'Angelo Russell and Kawhi? Like, I think that'd be pretty sick in LA, like a 1-2, in my opinion. I don't know. But there's not really much to say with the Clippers just because we all wait for Kawhi. Same with the the Lakers. I mean, their big move was Anthony Davis. What was your thoughts on the Anthony Davis trade?
I mean, what was it?
It's a lot of assets. It's a lot of assets.
It's a big win for the Pelicans because he didn't want to be there. So sure, they maximized on what they had in basically what was an asset that was basically out the door. It was only a matter of time. Yep. And sure, like, I'm all for the Lakers doing that because you don't want to waste LeBron's last however many years now, and you got to do something. He's still the best athlete in the league. Like, he's been able to maintain his body to the point where as long as you put capable players around him, he's going to bring you at least to the conference final, conference semifinals, basically to the championship. So they needed to do something.
Especially with the Warriors' injuries, like the fact that the West is wide open now. And so
it was opportune.
But the thing is, they gave up a lot. And the thing that they gave up was it's draft picks in like 2024, pick swaps in 2025 and 2026. Like, if it goes bad in LA, it could go bad.
Well, here's the thing now. Let's say we're assuming that Davis is going to resign. So
that's 5 years. So 2025 till 2025.
And let's assume that LeBron, I don't know, he's got how many years left? This and next year?
Like the elite player?
No, just on his contract.
He's got 2 more years, I think.
Yeah. Okay, so let's assume that he's still going to be able to play at this level for this year and next year. They bring in Kawhi. Even though LeBron might not be able to
if they
play
bring
at
in
the same
Kawhi,
level,
it's a wrap.
still a very, very, very strong team that's going to compete and basically win the West for the next 4 years.
But so the thing is, this Lakers window is only open for however long LeBron James's kid, like, because LeBron is leaving,
can maintain this level of play.
No.
However long he stays.
LeBron, Lakers run is only open for however, I think 4 more years. Because in that 5th year, LeBron's kid is going to be eligible to go to the NBA. And LeBron has said his priority is playing with his son. So whatever team drafts his son, LeBron's basically going to go to and play with his kid. Because he's prioritized that.
And I believe he'll do it too.
Oh, absolutely.
He's in phenomenal shape.
Yeah.
He's been able to,
and he's 34.
And the whole load management and stuff like that. They'll take good care of him. So,
well, LeBron will take care of himself because he'll be like, "No, I'm not playing."
Yeah. Well, in terms of the management,
sure,
too, they won't
with sitting out after the groin injury last year. Yeah. So
yeah,
it's not the recent years that'll be bad for the Lakers. It's the later years of like the extra stuff that you throw on, those pick swaps, the extra picks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a lot. Like, but the Lakers, they owe it to LeBron to make that move, but I don't know who you were bidding against. Maybe it all goes wrong, and then because the Raptors have cap space, if we keep Kawhi, come play with AD. Kawhi and AD in Toronto. Let's go. Who's the next team on the list? The Memphis Grizzlies. All right.
Well, they were
first they re-signed Jonas Valanciunas, 3 years, 45. Good for Jonas. Secure the bag. And then life comes at you fast. Andre Iguodala. You talk all this stuff bad about the Warriors medical staff. Oh, I actually had this injury, but they announced it as this injury. You know what I mean? And then they trade you to secure the D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah.
It's a cruel world. It's a cruel world. But like, I absolutely get that from the who is it? The Warrior standpoint. And also, apparently, they might secure a buyout with Iguodala, and then Iguodala is going to go to the Lakers.
Gonna go to the Lakers. Yep, I saw that too yesterday.
Yikes! Oh no.
There's your 6-man. There's the one guy off the bench you got,
Exactly.
unless they're gonna somehow. I don't know who's the 2 right there on that team right now.
They don't have one. They don't have one.
The Lakers. I'm saying
They don't have one.
Well,
let me look at.
They got LeBron, Kuzma, AD.
They drafted a guy, but he's not going to be ready to play. No, they on their team right now. They do not have anybody. It's they're going to sign like league men guys to play for them.
Sure, they kind of have to at this point with those big contracts. So
the Timberwolves, they tried to trade Jeff Teague and Andrew Wiggins to be able to sign D'Angelo Russell. They couldn't do that. Jordan Bell is going to the Timberwolves to be a backup big. That's a nice pickup for them. The Pelicans trading for Derek Favors to be a backup big. That's not bad. JJ Redick moving to the 76ers. I think that was moving from the 76ers to the Pelicans. I think that was huge. I
don't see how it makes sense, though.
What do you mean?
Are they not like a rebuilding team, or are they going to compete right away?
They're rebuilding,
Zion?
But they're also not. Like, they just want to. They don't want to. They want to build like a culture in a way, of being competitive, and I don't blame them for that, because like look at the talent of their roster right now. You can like legitimately name guys off, and they're like good NBA players. Look, Drew Holiday, sure. Lonzo, Josh Hart, JJ Redick, Brandon Ingram, Zion, Derek Favors now, Jackson Hayes, who they drafted 6th or 7th overall, or like they have good players on that team.
Yeah,
and I think that's the way to go. Like be good as soon as possible. So then,
plus they got picks galore.
If they want to cash in,
yeah.
If they want to trade for Bradley Beal, that would be sweet. A Bradley Beal team that people were talking about is, what if the Denver Nuggets traded for Bradley Beal? That would be sweet. I think that would be absolutely awesome if they did. The Thunder didn't do much. Keeping Nerlens Noel, Alec Burks, Mike Muscala. Boring. The Phoenix Suns, Ricky Rubio, the most average point guard in the NBA.
I mean, doesn't get any more accurate than that, sure.
Frank Kaminsky, Frank the Tank, boring.
The Wisconsin Badger.
Yes. Trailblazers, Supermax for Damian Lillard, obviously.
Yeah.
Hassan.
They pull in a guy like Whiteside.
Yeah, Whiteside is a 1-year deal, backup big. Like, it's fine. Rodney Hood, I thought they got in a really good deal just because it was such a low amount. Mario Hessonia, the LeBron stopper, getting him. It's a big move. Anthony Tolliver, vet, not bad. Sacramento Kings, they had money for a max slot, but instead they re-signed Harrison Barnes to a fuck ton of a lot of money.
Yeah, I know. Fuck.
Like, what was it, 488 or something? Who is paying Harrison Barnes this money? That's what I want to know. But like, I like what they've done, because Sacramento, they have good young players: Fox, Bagley, Giles.
485.
And they're surrounding them with good NBA players. You get Barnes, you get Corey Joseph, Trevor Ariza, Rashawn Holmes. They got, that's not bad as a backup big.
Some decent role players.
And then it's Willie Cauley-Stein's now a free agent instead of an RFA. It's a good offseason, even though like they weren't getting one of those big name free agents. So why not get role players to allow your guys to grow? San Antonio Spurs. See, this is what I was afraid of, like the Raptors being, like the Spurs right now, just middle of the road.
Resigning. Yeah.
Like there's no way that you see them being an NBA title contender, but they're a playoff team and they're good, but they're not good enough. Like
they're in that 5th to 8th spot, basically.
Them and
they're stuck there.
Them, Orlando. Who are other teams that are like this? Like Utah was in danger of becoming that, but with the moves that they've made, like Utah getting Bogdanovich, like it's like a lot of money.
I feel is in that kind of
Miami. That absolutely, like these middle of the road teams. But like you look at Utah, getting Bogdanovich is a lot of money, but that's another sharpshooter to where you're getting buckets. What's interesting about Utah is who the hell is going to be your 4-man? Like that, I just don't know.
Who did they pick up? They pick up the point guard. Didn't
Mike
they pick
Conley.
Up, Conley?
Yes, I like that move a lot because now you have Conley, you've got Mitchell. Joe Ingles. Yo, you can stroke it. But like, can you because of Rudy Gobert and how good he is defensively, can you play a lineup of Conley at the 1, Mitchell at the 2, Bogdanovich or Ingles at the 3, Bogdanovich at the 4? Like I don't know if Bogdanovich can play the 4, like because Rudy Gobert can make up for a lot defensively, but I don't know if he can make up for that much. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think that they're a very good team right now. Like, if I told you that they made the Western Conference Finals, I don't think that we would be surprised. All right, we made it through all 32. Jesus Christ. Or 30.
I have a couple questions,
shoot.
though. So there are a couple players still remaining that haven't been signed. Like, I'm just going to throw three names. So 2 are the Morris brothers. Veteran
Marcus
guys,
and
don't have a
Markieff,
contract.
right.
And then DeMarcus Cousins. And apparently
there's no
interest in him.
Yeah, that he might have to even take less than what he took for the Warriors. And remember last year when we found out that DeMarcus Cousins was going to the Warriors, we were all like, oh fuck, like the season's over, just give them the title now. And then look,
karma is a bitch, and I couldn't be happier.
I mean, I feel bad for Boogie because he's never really got, like, he got a big deal from the Kings, but like he's never gotten the payday that you thought.
Well, it's his own fault.
I mean, it's the Achilles injury.
Sure, but I mean, he could have, coming off an injury.
No, but even last year there wasn't a market really out there for him.
No, but the Kings would have given him the money. He said no.
True. So I don't know who signs him. Maybe Miami. They need a center now, or they have Bam Adebayo.
What's Myers Leonard? Is he a 4?
Myers Leonard isn't good.
He had a decent playoff.
He had that one game where everyone was like, Myers Leonard!
Okay, then maybe that was the only thing I watched then.
Yeah.
I wonder. Because this guy's... Okay, injuries aside, he was a perennial all-star.
Yep. But you saw, even in Game 6 against the Raptors, you saw that Boogie was still able just to like bully himself inside and get buckets.
Well, that's what I mean. Whenever Ibaka came onto the floor, thing was right up onto the middle of the to the scorer's table coming on. Like he still got the ability.
I think the Lakers are a strong possibility.
Oh, don't say.
I really do. Because him and Anthony,
you're probably right.
Because him and Anthony Davis are friends. Like they had
he fits that mold. Yeah, somebody who needs a team.
Anthony doesn't want to play the 5, so it fits the role. I would say the Lakers. I could say Golden State still, even though he said goodbye to them.
Sure.
Yeah. Like Marcus and Markieff are interesting because they're good players. Markieff was the better Morris, and then he's had a rough couple of years, and then Marcus has been better recently for the Celtics. The market's kind of dried up in a way. I think they've got to hope that the Lakers and Clippers miss out on both, and then hope to secure a deal there. Because if the Raptors don't get back Kawhi, they don't have money to go out and spend, right? Because they're over the cap. So ideally, it'd be going to one of these teams that need money, or need players. Any other players you got?
Rondo, I know he's probably a bit of a role player now, but do you think he goes basically into the starting position for
That's
the
what
Lakers?
yeah, probably. I think that's most likely. Like, honestly, because the Lakers don't. Basically, LeBron's going to be the point guard this year, though. That's the thing. So I was reading an article where it was like LeBron should basically become Magic Johnson and just feed Anthony Davis and Kawhi if he goes.
I mean, yeah, why not? He's the best facilitator in the game still. I mean,
and the thing is, though, if the Lakers miss out, they've missed out on a lot because their backup plan of D'Angelo Russell, he's gone.
Well, that's the thing. You lose a lot by going in for a guy like Kawhi because basically every role player that you would have been looking for before,
they're
gone.
So, and the thing is, like, if Kawhi comes back to Toronto, then Danny Green's going to come back, and Danny Green would be a perfect fit with the Lakers. But now he's gone.
Yeah.
Are the Lakers really going to start J.R. Smith? I don't think so.
Oh, God. That's right. They picked him up.
Well, they are going to, or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. The NBA is just far more interesting than the NHL, but let's talk about some of the moves that happened yesterday in the NHL. Starting off with our dear beloved Toronto Maple Leafs.
Yes.
So, are we going to talk about all the moves the Leafs made, or let's just talk about the one move? Because you can feed into it, sprinkling in the others.
Big pickup, Kenny.
Oh yeah. So the Leafs trade Nazem Kadri, Callie Rosen, and a 2020 third round pick for. Okay, for I was gonna say the whole story of how I found out about the trade, but I might say that for Brant later since we're talking NHL. To acquire Tyson Barrie, Alex Kerfoot, and a 2026 round pick. Mauro Cesario, what are your thoughts?
Dubas did good. I'm happy. They picked up a guy who can play you top 2 minutes in Tyson Barrie. I'm not gonna throw Kerfoot into a scrub category because he's 24 years old and put up 42 points. He's gonna slide in perfectly to the 3 spot. He's a little bit of a downgrade from Kadri in terms of what he can bring all around, but I like Kerfoot's game.
So what I saw online was that he fits a third line role better than Kadri does. He's a big downgrade from Kadri, but he fits the third line role better than Kadri could.
Sure, he put up 42 points. I know he was like a
on only 15
guy,
minutes per game or something like that.
That's what I mean. He's a good player.
Yeah.
Tyson Barrie, I mean, you finally filled the hole in terms of a top right-handed defenseman. Whether they play him with Muzzin, they play him with Riley.
Where would you lean?
You finally.
Where would you lean first to pair him with?
I'd think Muzzin, just because Muzzin's a little bit more defensively responsible than Riley, and it gives Barrie that ability to go up and into attack. And the Leafs have never really had a guy who's been capable of moving the puck up from the right side and
going.
It'll be a good look, especially on the power play too. If they want to run, I don't think they're going to run 2 defensemen on the top line, but they definitely have a guy who can quarterback the second power play unit, and it gives them that option whether they want to go with Riley or they want to change things up, shake it up, and put Barrie. They're giving themselves a lot of options.
How do you feel that this basically ends the Jake Gardner era?
I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. Why not?
Yeah, like I remember seeing James Myrtle was like, this basically ends, or Jake Gardner could come back to Toronto basically earlier in the day. I'm like, no, how about we not? Nazem Kadri, losing him sucks, man. Like,
well, he's been here since what, '09, the draft?
Yeah, longest tenured Leaf.
Yeah.
Basically,
he's a fan favorite in
absolutely.
In most
so
regards.
Here's it's tough because I want to save stuff, but I don't want to save stuff. Here's the problem with trading Kadri and relating it now to Mitch Marner. The difference is that Kadri, like, you always knew that he wanted to be a Leaf, you know what I mean? Like, with how he played and stuff. And then you see all this stuff now with Mitch Marner and, like, the woe is me. It's just like, this blows. You know what I mean? Like, you lose a guy that you could see how much he cared on the ice and stuff. So.
Yeah.
And it's also like, who's the agitator on this team now?
Well, they don't really have an agitator, but, I mean, my cousin was kind of comparing, like, in terms of what it means. Like, it's kind of like the sacrificial lamb thing that the DeMar DeRozan.
That's what, exactly. That's what
basically somebody had to move on.
Agreed. I love that comparison just because it's like, well, the Raptors won this year, but it was still bittersweet because DeMar wasn't on the team, and at the least win next year. I think it's the exact same thing, to where Kadri wasn't on the team
because he had been there through
everything. Because you think of the ups and downs with him.
The Game 7 in Boston, the first time around, the whole Kadri need to work on his game. Like, he got thrown into the doghouse so many years back. And you see him work on his game, become a 30-goal scorer.
And then he signs the extension, and then with Babs, like, and then the last couple of years with the 30-goal seasons, like, it sucks. It blows. And, like, I saw, like, for the Brown community, like, this sucks because, like, a lot of people watched because of him, like, and no doubt. And, like, my parents were bummed yesterday because they're like, damn, this kind of sucks. Just because, like, you know, you identified with someone. Because, like, there's like, look, he's the only Muslim guy in the league, I'm pretty sure. And then, like, the only other brown guy in the league is Jujhar Khaira, right? I'm pretty sure, right? Okay. I assume so. Or, you know, we relate to Andreas Athanasiou because he's Guyanese, but, like, there's no one. There's just he's just one of a kind because they're literally unicorns in the league. So it blows because Naz was really good, but signing Tavares, Naz was a luxury that you didn't need. Plain as day. But the thing is, like, I don't know, who do you keep if you can only sign one, Muzzin or Barry? Barry, right? Except he's going to cost way more than Muzzin will.
Well, this is the thing. You're only getting Barry at what, 2.75, which is pennies compared to what you should be paying him.
Yeah, because he's making $5 million actual dollars, because they retain. But, like, going into the future, that contract starts at what, $7 million annually?
Well, you got to think. Ryan Ellis got 6.25.
But that's in a no tax state.
Well, still, he's gonna get north of that anyway. You're talking about a perennial 50-point defenseman. Yep. What's Gardner?
Like, I think this is kind of like a rental player, which sucks.
Well, it certainly leads to it because look at all the defensemen on the team. Like, they're all on 1-year contracts. Yep. My question is CeCe on the books yet? Or no?
Yes and no. Like, there's reports saying that he's signed like a $4.5 million deal. And some are like, oh, he's going to file for arbitration. Yeah. So I was wondering, why don't we just let CeCe walk? Fuck. Like, I don't know. Like, I was...
How much... Yeah. Well, between him and Kerfoot, both of them need a contract along with Marner. So, I mean, they've got, what, $16 million altogether after they put Thing on LTIR?
Nathan Horton?
With? Yeah.
Okay, so then you figure... So 4.5 for CeCe.
Leaves you with 11 and a half.
How much do you figure for Marner? 9.5?
Well, I've heard
people
that the Marner,
people have said you said no to 10 at 8 by 10, and people have said you said no.
I always thought he wanted Matthews money, which would have been 11.
There's no way that Dubas says yes to Matthews money. I don't think so. I think he walks for the 4 first round picks then.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm kind of hoping that they get offer sheeted, so that way you at least see like what really was he after.
Yeah.
What was the dollar figure he was after?
But the thing is, who's giving him this money? That's what I want to know. Who's out there giving him this money?
I don't think there's anybody who would, because it's not that he doesn't deserve it. It's so hard to justify paying a guy more than $11 million.
And the only teams that could,
he's not a centerman.
So you look at Carolina, and what Montreal did was set them up with, here's all this bonus money up front. That doesn't affect Elise at all. It's like you gave Aho a low AAV, but you gave him more bonus money than Carolina was going to give him, obviously. But that doesn't affect Elise at all. And you look at teams out there. Who's teams with cap space? Does the Islanders still have money to do that? I don't even know if they had the money to do the.
Well, they just gave Anders Lee $7 million.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, like, the thing that the Leafs can offer you that no other team can is the bonus money up front, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Does Montreal go to the next tier and go to 5 by 10.5 for Marner? I think that's an option. What would you do then if Montreal does that?
At 10.5
by 5.
I'd sign him at 5 though. That's killer.
And you only return 2 first rounders, a second and a third.
No, I'd keep him.
Yeah,
I'd find a way to keep him at 10.5.
That blows though, because like he's not worth that.
Well, how can you? Like, there's the thing. It's a matter of how much do you value a player, right? Because Buffalo valued a player like Skinner and gave him 9.5.
Mm-hmm.
In all facets of the game, aside from scoring, Marner wins. But right, so you're already saying that he's worth more than $9.5 million.
But the thing is, like, you look at these other RFAs. All right, who would you rather have, Marner or Braden Point?
Obviously, Braden Point.
Marner or Sebastian Aho?
Marner.
I would take Aho at the money that he's gonna make.
Oh, okay. At the money he's getting paid, yeah, then probably Aho.
Who else is an RFA?
Rantanen,
and at what he's gonna get paid, or Marner? Rantanen, because I know the money that I think it's gonna be significantly under.
Let's say Rantanen gets 10.
Okay, I don't think he's getting 10. What is given these guys precedent to show that these wingers are gonna get franchise center type money?
Panarin just got center type.
But he's a UFA.
But that's the thing. A lot of these RFAs want the money now in their career. Teams are being put in a pickle basically where you got to pay them the term they want and the AAV they want.
But unless
everybody wants the 5-year deal now. Nobody wants the extra 3 years of being locked up. They want to walk into free agency at 27, or at least have the choice to earlier in their career.
These guys can want the money now, but unless someone's coming out and giving them this money, then there's no precedent to do that. Like, I understand.
Well, that's the thing. Nobody is. You just saw what an offer sheet is from Montreal.
And Carolina's
laughing. Carolina's laughing.
Yeah, and Montreal was like, well, we don't want to go up to the extra tier because of the risk. I'm like, well, what? It's like, would you not trade
without risk? Without risk, there's no reward. You basically just made a laughing stock of
Yeah,
yourself.
it's like
Basically saying, we're gonna try an offer sheet and
you
get
got Aho on a reasonable deal, and then we're able to. The only bad part about it is the bonus money, and that's it. And the fact that it's only 5 years. But other than that, like they're like, okay, cool. But my thing is, if you're Montreal, would you not trade 2 first rounders, a second and a third for Sebastian Aho, a first line center? Yes.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't you offer the $10 million? I don't get it.
That's why they're laughing. That's why I'm laughing, because any reasonable and knowledgeable hockey fan would know that he's probably worth the extra tier of money.
Would you not like offer sheet Matthew Tkachuk? I would.
At what price though?
What Aho sign?
8.54 over 5 years.
Yeah, around that. Like,
he's a different type of player though than Marner. If you're talking it from a Leaf standpoint.
If we'd lost Marner, I would do that in a heartbeat.
Well, that's the thing.
Heartbeat, I'd do it.
But like you said, like who's got the money and the assets to bring in a guy like Marner at the whatever figure he's looking for?
And I don't think that you can justify giving him over 10.5. Like whatever the second thresh, I think it's like 10.4 is the next is the top of the 2 first rounders.
Well, that's what I mean.
I don't think anyone's going over that.
Even Montreal's offer was apparently like $800 south of the next tier, which would have been the 2 firsts, second and third, or whatever it was. I think that was Frank Saravalli on TSN pointed that out. So I don't know. Like I don't like if Montreal is the example of what the league is thinking. I don't think teams are prepared to put that kind of risk on the table. I understand that a lot of these guys are cornerstone pieces to a franchise, but I mean, it's just so hard to part ways with that kind of thing at that kind of term.
No, right? I agree. I have these hypothetical trades, but I don't know if you want to go through them. It's for the NBA also, so I don't know how much minutia you know about the NBA.
Well,
give it a whirl. Give it a whirl. All right. Boston receives Kevin Love. To Cleveland goes Gordon Hayward and 2 first round picks.
Jeez.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think you'd have to give up 2 first round picks.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
One.
I know Gordon Hayward's kind of fallen off the map since his injury, but that's a lot for Kevin Love.
I agree. I'd say 1.
1 first round pick I think is justifiable, but 2 is kind of overboard.
There's 1 Toronto deal, but I'll save that at the end. The Atlanta Hawks get Steven Adams. That would be interesting. It's basically just a cap dump from Oklahoma City. That'd be interesting to get them a viable big man.
I heard that they were in the market to move him though. I don't know why though. He's a good player.
Sabonis to the Spurs, and Indiana receives Derek White on the Spurs. I don't know if you know him. And
I don't know Derek White, but I know Sabonis. He's pretty good. Or decent at least.
Let's go to the I'll give you this 1 Toronto one, and then that's it. Andrew Wiggins and a 2021 for Serge Ibaka if Kawhi leaves. So Minnesota gets off of Andrew Wiggins' bad contract that has
and you basically get stability.
And Minnesota gets a guy on an expiring contract. The problem is,
I don't know how much I like Wiggins though.
So the thing is, you sell that you can unlock whatever Wiggins has been missing. I would need 2 first round picks to get off of Wiggins' contract then. That's what I would need.
Well, that's the thing. He hasn't really taken his game to that next level. neither have I ever seen him show that he has the willingness and the drive to do it.
The Wiggins contract is so bad that I would need 2 first-rounders. Because if you're the Raptors, you're also losing the cap flexibility. Because next offseason, you could sign 2 max free agents if you wanted to. But there's no guys to sign next offseason. It's basically punting to 2021 when Giannis is a free agent.
2021.
When Giannis is a free agent. So you would only be able to sign 1 then, I think. So I don't know if it's worth it, honestly. As cool of a storyline that it would be that Andrew Wiggins is coming to Toronto, but like it's not a good thing because he's on a bad deal. It's basically Rudy Gay 2.0.
And we all saw what happened when Rudy Gay left, the addition by subtraction.
Exactly. Boom. Yep.
I don't know if I'd want to do that. Like, again, you'd have to give them something worth their while to take on that contract.
Agreed. All right, are we tuckered out?
I think I'm good. I think I've said everything I needed to say. So
we're gonna say bye to Mauro, and then we're gonna come back with Brant DeBow. And we're back on the A Sports Pod. Brant DeBow is joining me to talk about the NHL and NHL free agency, even though you didn't pay attention to it at all.
I paid a bit of attention.
I don't know.
I might have been celebrating Canada Day weekend a little bit, and then I worked, but I saw everything that went down. I just didn't really look at any numbers.
All right, so we're Leafs fans, so we're gonna be Leaf centric.
No,
come
on.
Not that any other team matters.
No, I mean, they're gonna win the cup anyways, aren't they?
Yeah, probably.
It's the year of champions in Toronto, so.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, let's go. We're gonna start off with the Kadri trade, and I was on Twitter. You know, Tim and Sid was close to ending, so I was just on my phone, and then I see Biz Nasty.
Yeah.
For you guys that don't know, Paul Bissonnette tweet out, the Leafs made a huge move, and then I see Jeff Viette tweet out an eye emoji.
Yeah.
And then all I see on my timeline is the Leafs trade for Alex Kerfoot. So then I'm like, okay, cool. I'm like, okay, cool. What did we give up? And then Chris Johnson goes for like the choke slam, and he's like, oh, the Leafs acquired Tyson Barrie. And I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah. And then I send Brant the tweet, and I'm like, just please don't be Kadri going back. And then the exact next tweet that I refresh my feed, it's like Kadri, Callie Rosen, a 2023 for
Kerfoot, Barrie,
and a sixth. Yeah, and Barrie at 50% return.
That is nuts. I love that.
The retained aspect?
That's unreal.
I mean, it's unreal for this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to be great for the future, but you're now paying a number one pairing D like $2.25 million. Thank you.
So me and Mauro were talking about this, and like, I don't think that he's going to be on the number one pair with Riley.
Sure.
Because I don't know. I just
regardless
like him
of whether
and together.
Yeah, regardless of whether or not he's a first pairing guy here, he is a first pairing defenseman and has been his whole career.
Yeah. But. So, did the Leafs get better by this move?
Yeah, I think so. They addressed a problem.
They did.
And Kerfoot's a good centerman. He'll be, like, he's not Kadri by any means, don't get me wrong.
No.
But he's not a terrible centerman. Like, you can put him in there, and he's not going to be that much worse than what Nas was.
So, he fits the third line role better than Nas does.
Exactly. Now you can play your first and second lines and not have to worry about getting Nas out there as much. But... Tyson Barrie is definitely a clear.
It's another question of whether or not we actually will play our first and second lines more.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
But in theory, yes.
Barrie is clearly the upgrade over anything we had. Even if you mix the two trades together too, it's like Barrie is a clear upgrade over Nikita Zaitsev. And that's without including like CC and everything into that. So your defense is already better. Personally, I think.
See, I don't know. Having now a day or two to digest the trade, I'm kind of like wish-washy.
Yeah.
Because I think it was Ian Tulloch that was like, wait, why don't you just keep Kadri and then have traded for Colin Miller.
But Colin Miller is very not Tyson Barrie.
I think he's better defensively.
I don't care. Tyson Barrie moves the puck better, and that's where your issues are.
Tyson Barrie really is right-handed Jay Gardner.
Sure, but he's better at getting the puck out of his own end.
Yes.
Yes.
He's better at doing what Jay Gardner does.
Yeah.
And so that's where my questioning is, because I was listening to Puck Soup and Greg Wyshynski was like, in a year or two we could really be like the Avalanche fleece the Leafs just because they got Nazem Kadri, who's their clear second line center, and at a controllable AAV. And because Tyson Barrie is only on a 1-year deal, the Leafs could absolutely lose him next year, and most likely will, because I think the number starts at 7 with him.
For sure. And it doesn't start at 2.25, I'll tell you that much.
No.
You're losing
Definitely
one
not.
of maybe both Muzzin and, Barrie next year.
And I think Barry's the guy that you keep, but I don't even like that contract, what it's going to be like in the future.
No.
I know we're talking about in the future, but that next contract's going to be
bad.
A bad one, just because if he takes a step down from his skating ability.
Yeah, we'll see. I like it for now. I think it makes him a real contender. But
it finally it's the best right shot defenseman that we've had since who?
Ron Hainsey? Oh, he's not a right shot. Never mind.
He's not a right shot.
Fuck, I don't know, man. Was Thomas Caberlet a right shot defenseman?
I think he's a left.
Then Brian McCabe, I guess. I don't know.
McCabe was a right.
I think so.
Yeah.
We don't have much.
No.
I
really do not. I do, but
I miss
still
Naz.
think that we
I'm
need
gonna miss Naz.
I know that me and Mauro were talking. I was like, this is brutal. Like something that with the Mitch Marner negotiations going on, it's like the thing with Naz was we always knew he wanted to be in Toronto.
Yeah.
And like to see one of these guys go, I compared it to the DeMar DeRozan trade.
Yeah.
And basically how the Raptors won this year, but it was bittersweet just because he wasn't on the team. And if the Leafs win the cup, even though it's going to be absolutely incredible and first since 67, it's still going to feel like, damn, I wish this guy was on the team. I wish Jay Gardner was on the team.
Yeah, at least with the Raptors, you had guys like Lowry and Van Vliet who'd been through like some of the lower times. Or not the lower time. Kyle's been through the lower times, but like you don't really have that. Like Riley, I guess, but they've been good for most of Riley's tenure. Outside of that,
There's no one left from the first game 7.
Riley wasn't there
against Boston. No, he wasn't in. He didn't play in the game 7.
Fuck, eh?
I don't think so.
Yeah, if that's the case, then it's even worse, right? Like, there's no one that's been through. Like, the Demons of Boston are kind of like a little less than what they would have been.
Which is, I think, a good reason why they got Jason Spezza. Yeah. So what I was wondering was, is Jason Spezza now the third line center? Which I hope not.
I haven't seen anyone peg him in as even the fourth line center.
Oh, he's the fourth line center.
I have a bunch of people I've seen putting Nick Shore above him. That's what I mean. I'm like, come on.
Jason, like I like everyone likes Nick Shore, but come on.
Jason Spezza had a real good start to last season. Like,
and he was good in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think.
he tailed off a bit in like the end of the year, but like he had a real good start to the year. I'm like, why
for 700,000?
You can't tell me Nick Shore is going to be better than that.
Yeah, like going in. So if I would have told you right now, the lines are probably. I'm just doing this in my head. It sucks because Hyman's injured, so I don't know. But when healthy, it would be Hyman, Tavares, Marner.
A lot of people have Janssen, Matthews, Nylander
instead of what would
Cap.
the other was?
I don't know.
No.
I don't think they go back.
And
it'll be really interesting to see how Babcock plays that this year.
And then a third line of Kerfoot, Kapanen, Mikheyev, or Moore.
I'd say Moore. I think Moore's earned his keep.
Okay, and then a fourth line of Spezza, Mikheyev, and who's playing right wing now?
shit. I've seen a bunch of.
Maybe Kenny Agostino.
I've heard him on the
Did they
left
sign?
a lot, but I feel like we're missing someone.
I'm sure you could put Mikhaev on the other side. Like
yeah, there's someone that I've seen a bunch of different things, and they're all similar.
I'll pull up Daily Face-Off.
Yeah, there's a bunch of like Leafs like fan accounts basically that have been posting shit about it, and I'm like, I don't.
Nick
really
Patan.
Nick Patan,
Nick
that's
Short.
who it was. Yeah, Patan's been the one on pretty much everybody's thing, which I don't hate it. Nick Patan's a good fourth line right wing.
Yeah, it's fine.
Is it ideal?
And at least with Spezza, like, it'll give Babs his guy that is a vet.
Yeah.
And also, the Leafs didn't have a right shot center.
No.
Since Bozak. I think Bozak was the last one that they had.
Yeah, so something different. I saw somebody try to predict the power play, and they had Spezza on the second unit, but they didn't have him as like the net front presence. I'm like, dude, that man's a big dude. Like, why is he? They had somebody that just
currently they have him and Barry.
Yeah.
At the blue line.
What? No, man, get him in front of the net. Use his body. Their power play is going to be really good. Like,
it'll be interesting.
They have a new power play coach. It was Florida's, right? Florida's from last year, and Florida had one of the best power plays in the NHL. They have an entirely new second unit, basically. It'll be good, I think.
Jason Spezza, 6'3".
Yeah.
What?
Unit.
Yeah.
Right.
Jeez.
Yeah. Unit.
That's nice.
So, might as well use it.
No, absolutely. The Zaitsev trade was something that had to be done.
Yep. I like the return, even though they probably don't sign CC.
I mean, so I would rather them not sign CC altogether and just get the $4 million.
But it hurts to get rid of Connor Brown.
I think it's like the hurt that I feel for Kadri. It's
much
like
worse.
Oh, it's like 5 times of like Connor Brown. I'm like, I feel for him just because if you see, I think it was the blueprint where it was like how much it meant to play for the Leafs. To like his mom was talking about it. I'm like, all right,
he's a hometown kid. He gave his all for this team. He was out there pouring his heart out every night, and it's tough.
And then for the last couple of years, he's had to deal with trade speculation.
Yeah, and he's never been on the same line. Like, he's up and down the lineup every night, and it's tough. I feel for the kid, but. What are you going to do?
But he's going to probably have a chance to be on the second line of Ottawa, so who knows?
Yeah,
maybe
he's not going to have a very long season, but he'll be there. He'll get the full regular season. Yeah, he'll get the full 82 games. And you're done by then, so that's good. You know when your season's done. It's nice. Yeah. Ottawa's something else. They're...
I don't understand why they did the Zaitsev trade. I really do not.
Dude, it's like they basically, what was it, 4 or 5 months ago that their owner there,
Melnick, was like,
the
Leafs defense sucks.
The Leafs defense sucks.
And now they have
half of them,
defense.
man. Like, okay.
Yeah. Plus the coach.
And the defensive coach, yeah. I love it. Yeah. Go Ottawa. Thank you. Take my money.
I don't understand why they would do that deal, though.
Who?
I don't understand why.
Have you seen Pierre Dorian?
I guess.
Yeah, not a very good GM. That's pretty much.
I mean, if they believe, and this is what Daily Faceoff has, that Zaitsev can play defense. Yep. And because he's a right shot, he can be next to Thomas Chabot. Pairing them together, and they use some Corsi percentage. You know how Daily Faceoff gives it a rating? Yeah. Okay, it's 31 of 31. Which is shocking because Thomas Chabot is
incredible.
89th. No, but he's the 89th left-handed D. Oh. And Zaitsev's the 91st right-handed D. Yeah, so whatever calculations that they use to conjure up those statistics, it's
that's wild.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think that's it for the Leafs, eh? They didn't really do much else.
Oh, let's wait. The vetoed Kadri
Okay, yeah.
trade.
What was this? I didn't hear it.
So apparently, the Leafs were gonna trade Kadri to Calgary,
Okay.
and it was a 3-team deal with apparently Winnipeg in
Oh,
it.
okay.
But Calgary was gonna send back to the Leafs TJ Brody.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then I guess another center was coming to Toronto. I guess from Winnipeg.
Okay.
Adam Lowry, maybe.
Okay.
Right.
That makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah,
what
yeah. We just figure Lowry's
interesting.
win championships. Was that the plan?
I think
Okay.
so. Toronto loves
Yeah.
him. It would have been interesting.
Yeah, I don't hate that deal either. I kind of like the Barry one more, but
I agree, just because Brody's also a left
yeah.
shot, and I think like as much as people are like left right doesn't matter.
Matters a little bit.
I think you can't have everyone
No,
the same
no, it
handedness.
doesn't. You need to have at least one or two. But
Yeah.
that would have been neat.
Yeah. So let's go on to the offer sheet that was made.
This kind of
to
pertains to the Leaf situation a little bit because we are sitting in that situation still where we can be offer sheeted.
But after seeing the offer sheet that Sebastian Aho signed, I don't think that it scares you in any way, because Sebastian Aho, he basically signed a 5-year.
Yeah.
Was it
I
8.65?
think it was 4 or 5 something
Sure.
like that. It was like 4.54 or something like that. Like, thank you, take it,
4.54.
all yours. I'm like, man.
And so I don't understand. One, it's below market value.
Yeah, considerably.
For what I told you, I'd pay Aho 8 times 10. Done deal. Let's get it signed.
He's statistically better than Mitch Marner.
I would. So me and Mauro were. I posed the question: who would you rather have, Aho or Marner? I picked Aho, considering also the price that he's going to make on his contract.
Yeah.
Aho or Point or Marner. Point. Yeah. Who are the Matthew Tkachuk or Marner? Considering contracts, I would take Tkachuk.
Rantanen or Marner?
Considering the contract, I would take.
Yeah,
Rantanen.
I don't think Rantanen's going to ask for too much.
But as a player, Marner, I would say, is better.
Yeah.
So
Rantanen's bigger. Rantanen's a unit. I didn't know that. But
6'4",
huge.
Yeah.
Big guy.
Yep.
But yeah.
But not like.
But who's going to make the most out of the group is the real question, and then probably Marner.
Probably bitch Marner. So the weird thing is that for Carolina, the worst part of the signing was that it was 5 years and it walks Aho to unrestricted free agency, and the other point is that you owe 21 of the 44 or 40 something million dollars in the first 24 months.
It's like
or 12 months,
That's tough. I think that was the only reason they thought that
it.
Carolina wouldn't match, right? Was that because they didn't have the money up front?
As the money up front, yeah.
What an idiot. Like, I was listening to Bergevin talk about it. I'm like,
if you'd secured him and gone to the mid tens deal, where it was 2 first, a second, and a third, why don't you do that? Because one, you had the cap space. 2, if I had told you trade 2 first, a second, and a third for Sebastian Aho, you do that deal.
Yeah.
So I don't understand the trade.
It's weird. It's just a dumb move by Montreal, in my opinion. Like you handcuffed yourself.
Well, for the next week until they potentially
when everybody gets signed.
Offer sheet. But they could offer sheet Brayden Point in the
sure,
week.
and then
I don't think that contract's going to be done in time.
No, but then you're going to handcuff yourself for another week.
But what if you offer sheet Brayden Point at the $10 million mark?
Can Tampa not afford him right now?
I don't know if with the cap they can.
Yeah.
That throws everything out of whack if it's at the 10.
Realistically,
8,
your
then
only hope right now is that you can offer sheet somebody above their market or like above their cap room. And that's the only way this is going to make sense for you, is that like in a week, if there's still somebody available, they can be like, yeah, all right, here's 11-2.
Yeah, and the thing is with the offer sheet, like you would suspect teams to go after the Kapanen, Janssen, who else is an RFA? Like Brandon Carlo, even like that level of player, to where you're not paying them a ton of money.
You're only losing a couple picks.
Exactly. Yeah. The mid-level players, the complementary players. So with the Aho sheet being signed where it is, it's the greatest news that you can have for a Leafs fan. Because it's like, Marner, you're on crack if you're getting $14 million. Apparently, like, no one is giving you that.
No.
So the thing that I took away from Carolina's offer sheet was the fact that you look at what these teams are trying to use to handcuff other teams, and it's the AAV, which was average, but it's the bonus money, and the Leafs can match that anytime.
They're one of the only teams that can like easily match all this shit. So you can't. And also, with that.
If you sign an offer sheet with another team, the bonus money is going to be less than what you would have gotten with the Leafs.
Oh, easily. The Leafs can throw bonus money at you all day.
The Leafs will pay you your contract in bonus money.
It's like, here's all your money up front. Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, isn't Matthews making like $800K of salary at one point?
Yeah,
on like an $11 million deal. Like, thank you.
Yeah. It's like, show up, and then.
Yeah, it's cool that we saw an offer sheet. It's different.
Oh, absolutely. So the one thing that from a league perspective, I don't like is, teams shouldn't be able to offer bonus money, like use it as such an advantage.
Yeah.
And I totally disagree.
Yeah. Okay.
It's the same advantage of being in a tax-free state, basically.
You got to use what you got. Kyle Dubas kind of went at that too the other day. He's just like, well, I'm not going to apologize because we have a lot of money. Like, we have it. We might as well use it. I'm like,
exactly. And it's the same. But, like, look, Nashville and Tampa, they've been exploiting this.
How nice is Nikita Kucherov's contract?
The nicest. How nice is Braden Point's contract probably going to be?
Yep.
Steven Stamkos. Like, it goes on and on.
There's a reason they can put together this all-star team.
Mm-hmm. Let's move on to the notable.
Yeah, because there were other free agents signed. It was. I think I heard that it wasn't just the Leafs signing guys. Not certain, but
who are these other teams that
these other AHL teams that are not in the same league as these?
You mean ECHL?
Yeah,
teams?
basically, they are not quite in the same league as the actual winners of the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Artemi Panarin signs a deal with the New York Rangers, 7 years, $81.5 million. That's a 11.64 AAV. What's your thoughts on that deal?
I thought he was going to get more. Like at the beginning of the day or the day before, I heard he was like looking at like 12 and a half at one point. I'm like, that is nuts. And then
apparently Columbus was offering like 13 and over that.
That's crazy, man. For a winger who's like kind of hitting the down part of his career. Like, he just hit a career high in points, and it's really not that much. I don't hate him at 11.
How old is he? 27?
He's 27, 28. He came into the league at 24, and he's been in the league for at least 4 years. Are you looking it up?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a ton of money for what he is.
28 in October.
28, and he just had, I think it was 84 points this season.
Mm-hmm.
That's not great. I'm kind of talking myself out of this deal, but
at 11 and a half for a free agent player that you're not going to get they just don't come available that often. I think you sign that deal still. Especially
New York, they have the room.
Well, the thing is, like, so the Knicks famously miss out on every free agent possible the day before. And then at least Panarin gives you something.
Yeah.
It's James Dolan still, like.
I heard a lot about that. They're like,
but would you, so if you were getting offered 12 and a half or 11 and a half to be a Ranger versus an Islander, I would take the Rangers.
100%.
Oh, easily.
I would take 10 with the Rangers over 13 with the Islanders, man. Like I'm not going to play on Long. Anders Lee, their captain, almost didn't want to go play in Long Island for God's sakes.
Loyal. I'm not. You know what? All right, let's talk about the Anders Lee.
Not even just Anders Lee, man. Robin Leonard was the same idea.
So Lee signed 7x7, right? I'm pretty sure. So the NBA, Klay Thompson tweets out the Wolf of Wall Street, I'm not fucking leaving.
I didn't see that. That's good.
And then Anders Lee does it later. And I'm like, who the fuck is Anders Lee to tweet this?
Yeah.
Like
you were leaving until they gave you the deal you wanted. Don't give me that.
Yeah.
Brutal. Not a big Lee fan anymore. Not a big Islanders fan. I don't know if you noticed.
No.
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, like I don't mind the Panarin move though. Mm-hmm. It advances the Rangers.
Oh, dude, they might be good soon.
Quickly. Yeah. I think they still lack center depth. Yeah. Because it's Zibanejad and who? You don't have Kevin Hayes anymore.
You don't have Jimmy Vesey.
He's not. He's a winger, but yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ryan Strome is your second line center.
Yes. Edmonton Oilers, great.
But you trade for Jacob Trouba.
That's big.
That's a sick move.
You didn't give up much for him.
A first pair of Brady Shea and Jacob Trouba.
Yeah.
I like
Their D
that.
is not bad, I think. I'm not looking at it. But
Shattenkirk, D'Angelo, Stahl, and Fox on the third
Stahl
pair.
used to be something.
Fox is going to be good.
I don't hate it.
And then apparently next year they're going to have a shit ton of cap because Kreider's coming off. I think so.
They could be a sneaky playoff team. Like the Leafs, that first year when they were actually good.
Perhaps.
I wouldn't put it by them. They got like Kakko could, if Kakko is what Kakko's been in like the big stage, he could carry a team. He could Austin Matthews your team.
I don't know if he's
not Austin Matthews, don't get me wrong. But the guy can move. He's a big body and he's incredible with the puck.
Mm-hmm. So moving on to a weirder move.
Yeah.
Sergei Bobrovsky signs 7 years.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Sure. Free agent. Sure. And we just talked about the advantage of being in the no-tax state of Florida. Yeah. And Carey Price signed a 8-year, $10.5 million deal.
Horrible
correct,
tax
right?
place. It was 10.5
of Montreal. Yep. Awful.
Yep.
The Florida Panthers just gave Sergei Bobrovsky 7 years, $10 million
a year. Yeah.
That is significantly more than whatever Carey Price is going to get paid.
That's painful.
Why do you make this deal? And you just draft Spencer Knight in the first round.
Yeah. So now
this is your goalie for 3 years?
If that.
Yeah. And we all know that Bobrovsky's off and on.
If Spencer Knight is what he's supposed to be too, it might not be 3 years. Like that kid is supposed to be real good. And
it could be another
Carter Hart.
Carter Hart
yeah,
situation.
Exactly. Like why? What are you going to do in 3 years when Bobrovsky can't? He's not cutting it.
And we liked Florida so much.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
You got Barkov, you got Huberdeau.
Yeah. If Bobrovsky shows up this year and he plays a Bobrovsky season, sure, give him 10, but 7 years, man.
Yeah, if you're going 10 million, 5.
Yeah. At most. Especially with Spencer Knight, man. Like, you can't.
Especially with a goalie. Who is bidding against you at
10 million?
much?
Who needs a goalie this bad? Nobody, man. Like,
the Islanders were just like, oh, Sergey, we want you. 7 years, 10 million? See ya. What? God.
Like, Robin Leonard could have been a Vezina candidate. He got $5 million. For a year. Give him something like that.
Semyon Varlamov, a starter in the NHL. Yeah. 4 years, $5 million.
Yeah, $5 million. I would have done that.
At times, last year, the first half of the season, the first couple months, Varlamov was better.
Yeah, he was one of the best goalies in the NHL for stretches. Leonard was arguably the best for a lot.
He was a Vezina candidate.
I'm like, I don't get it. I get it if you're a team that has no goalie, has no future there. Sure. If you're a team like Columbus, that would make sense. If you're Florida, who just drafted one of the best goalie prospects we've seen in the last 10 years, then why are you locking yourself? Why are you handcuffing yourself for 7 years?
And the thing is, they have a lot of meh contracts.
Yeah.
Like Ekblad, Matheson.
Yeah, it's not a pretty
Yandel.
situation there. Hey, you know what? They're in our division. Handcuff yourself all you want. Thank you. Have fun.
Yeah.
Stay below us.
Now they'll probably be a playoff team this year.
Oh, I think easily they could probably fight for the third spot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that because I think the Leafs will be 2 and Tampa would be 1 again. But
yeah, fuck Boston.
I don't think they're great.
A team that did take advantage of the no tax.
Yep.
Nashville.
Yeah.
Signing Matt Duchene to 7 years, $8 million per.
I love that deal for Duchene because it's like not even hockey related, but like he's kind of this like country dude, and like he was on stage playing with James Barker Band in Ottawa the one time they were there, and like he's a big country fan, and like to put him in Nashville is like, that's pretty cool for him.
Yeah.
He had the post. He put a post on Instagram. I don't know if you saw it, but it was like his son in the Nashville jersey, and then he had his dog in the Nashville jersey. I'm like, man, he's gonna love this. Good for him. I don't know if I love it for Nashville, but
all right. Now here's my thing on Nashville.
Yeah.
And now I'm not a Nashville fan because PK's gone, so I get ripped.
Yeah.
Up. Nashville has 3 centers that are all not number 1 centers.
However, Duchene
getting paid getting paid $8 million each of them.
Duchene could be, because if you saw what he did in Ottawa, man, like he was.
Can Duchene be a number 1 center on a Stanley Cup winning team?
Maybe. He was easily the number 1 center in Ottawa by a wide margin. There was nobody
in Ottawa,
nobody playing with him, and he was over a point per game. That like last season when he got traded. Like significantly over a point per game. Then in the playoffs, he was gross. He was leading the league in scoring through the first 2 rounds. I'm like, all right, he could be that guy.
In terms of their 3 centers, if I could pay one of them their contract, I would pay Duchene the $8 million.
I don't hate,
because people were talking about him over 10.
Yeah.
Like 10 and a half. And to get him at 8, that's fair.
Yeah.
It's
I like the deal.
Towards the end, it could be bad.
Even if Duchene's your second line center, 8's not bad.
At 8, no,
we're paying ours 11.
But who the hell is, like, Ryan Johansson getting paid 8.5 is awful. Kyle Turris is your third line center getting $8 million.
That hurts a lot.
Bad.
Especially because you just gave up one of the best defensemen in the league when he's on. It hurts. I don't know. I don't know what their plan is. I think they're still going to be good, obviously. It's a deep team. Their blue line's still good.
And if they can have their 3 centers play second line roles, they'll be good.
They also have Pekka Rinne in net still, and he has the ability to be the best goalie on the planet when he wants to. So,
but did Nashville get better? I
think they're the same as last year, which is really good. But it's not great, but it's really good. Interesting move.
I just think that PK trade sucks, man.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't get it, because you cleared cap to just put that cap back on with Duchene.
Yep.
Strange. I don't know. You just weakened your D to kind of improve your center depth.
Then again, they have Dante Fabro to step in. So
you're hoping there.
I don't know if you're hoping.
But you're hoping he can adjust to the NHL level. I don't know. It'll be neat. It'll be fun to see. Yep. They're a good team.
All right. The next one I want to talk about, I just put in, was Tyler Myers. 5 years, $6 million per year. People were talking about him like he was getting paid. Like he was going to get paid, it was going to be 7 by 8, or like it's something ridiculous. And then when I see 5 years, $6 million per, I'm like,
sweet. Thank you.
Like, sure.
I'll
like
take
that's
that.
not bad. I think that's as a giant right-handed defenseman
so
hitting a UFA market. I think that's fair.
If that's his number, what's Jake Gardner?
The same?
You think? I think it's less. I put Jake Gardner below Tyler Myers. I like Jake.
Really?
I like Jake, but I don't think he's Tyler Myers.
Analytics hate Tyler Myers.
Sure. You know who doesn't?
And they love
You know who doesn't hate Tyler Myers?
That's
the one. Donald. Is it S. Cherry?
Donald. I don't know.
Whatever.
He should win the Norris this year.
Yeah, he had him at the Norris as the Norris winner at the 3/4 mark.
He's
it wasn't
the best defenseman in the league.
It wasn't early.
And the Jets wouldn't be in the playoffs if they don't have him. Bufflin, no. Chuba, no.
He is a unit.
Yeah, like
big guy, but
he's 6'7" or 6'8". I don't mind the deal, especially at the 5 years. How old is he? 28, 29?
Yeah, he's still on the young side. I know that.
I had it. But so he's 29, and then next February he'll be 30.
I don't hate it.
If you're paying him that until he's
I like it.
35, that's fine. It's not as bad as contracts that you have signed in the past.
It's too bad it's Vancouver. Because
like Louis Eriksson.
Sorry.
That's off. Yeah.
You just lost Chris Tanev too.
Did
pretty
they?
sure.
No.
Did he not?
Brandon Tanev.
Was it
Brandon
not
Tanev.
Chris?
They have Brandon Tanev.
No.
Chris Tanev.
Vancouver.
What happened to Brandon Tanev?
Brandon Tanev's on Winnipeg, is he not?
No, you're thinking it's the opposite.
No, it's not.
No.
I'll look it up.
So what do you mean they just?
He was with Vancouver, was he not? Or did he get traded?
Chris Tanev's the one that's on Vancouver. Brandon Tanev's the one that was on
Chris
Winnipeg.
Tanev just went somewhere else, did he not?
No, he's got 1 year left.
I thought he was traded or something. I heard someone else acquired him.
No.
Never mind that.
No, Brandon
Maybe I'm thinking
Tanev
Brandon
is
Tanev.
signed with
Pittsburgh. Maybe that's what I'm thinking.
A depth of a fourth line guy getting $3 million a year for 5 years.
Tanev's
Or
gross.
Something? What the? No, he's not.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry, Vancouver.
Who were we on? Yeah, Myers. I thought that was fine.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
So Wayne Simmons signs a 1 year, $5 million prove it deal, basically, after a rough year with Philly and then getting traded to Nashville.
Still wasn't great there.
And he was on the fourth line with Nashville. Yeah, he wasn't good last year. I liked New Jersey's offseason a lot.
Man, they might be good.
Just because
they might be really bad, but they also might be really good.
Who the hell's in net?
Yeah, that's what I've heard a lot too. Everyone I say that to, they're like, "Okay, well they have no goalie." I'm like, "All right, that's fair." They're a team that could have used Bobrovsky or Varlamov or Leonard, but
I'm not paying you that.
But
right now, I think Mackenzie Blackwood's their goalie.
Blackwood looked good though.
Corey Schneider's Yeah, he didn't look bad.
Good. There was stretches before he got hurt. He was really good, and then he came back after the injury, and he was good. He wasn't shut down the entire world, but his team in front of him sucked. So
he could potentially be this year's Darcy Kemper, maybe he was a backup basically last year, and then could be a league average to better.
He could be really good.
Go on a stretch.
Yeah, I've seen him in times in Barrie where he was incredible, and I've seen him at times in Barrie when he was absolutely atrocious. You never know with that kid. All
right, a first line in New Jersey of Jack Hughes, Taylor Hall, and Wayne Simmons. I like that. And then so right now they have Coleman, Zajac, Palmieri, but I'd probably put Heischer instead of Palmieri. Instead of Zajac. So then it's Coleman, Heischer, Palmieri.
Heischer looks better when he's on the second line. I don't hate that.
Yeah, agreed. And then
it might be good, man.
Yeah, they could be.
Who's their
defense is?
Yeah,
it's Sammy Vatanen, Subban, Andy Green, Damon Severson, Will Butcher, Connor Carrick. Yeah.
Is Connor Carrick the Bruno Caboclo of the Leafs?
No, because Caboclo actually looked good at the end of last season.
But Carrick looked good at the beginning of last season before he got hurt.
No,
he looked good in the very beginning.
No.
He didn't look great, but he looked good. He looked like a defenseman.
I don't know. We should do like a cross-sport comparison thing one time. We'll do that later in the summer. Just
when we're
like
running out of shit to do because the Jays suck.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
Just
until they
dummied
trade
up all those.
Stroman and Giles and stuff like that. Then no.
I don't know if you're watching right now, but Vlad just dummied this ball foul. Like he almost put it in the upper deck.
Damn.
Like he put it on a line off the level of excellence sign on the facing of the fifth deck.
Jesus. Joe Pavelski, San Jose's captain, is now going to be on the Dallas Stars along with Corey Perry.
So weird for both of them
Yeah.
because I don't know them else. Yeah. Like I don't know either of them as anything else but a shark and a duck. It's weird because
the thing that's so Dallas took advantage of basically the no tax because Pavelski was going to want more than $7 million if he was going to go back to San Jose.
Yeah.
And maybe rightfully so. Like if you had told me 3x8 or 3x, I don't know if I could have done 3x9, but
it's a lot for an older guy.
For a guy that's turning 35 in a couple of weeks, it makes sense. Like paying him $7. I understand why San Jose let him go, even though he's money in the bank basically every year. He's one of the best tippers in front of the net.
Oh, his front of the network is absolutely incredible. It's like it's equivalent to James Van Riemsdyk almost, but better. Like the guy he finds the puck so well and just love it.
Dallas is an interesting team because they played better in the playoffs than you thought they were going to.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't think that they were going to win a round. And then losing in Game 7 against St. Louis. Like
against the eventual cup winners.
Yeah. And I would say they got better. Like, Pavelski is an upgrade over Zuccarello, I think. And then now you're going to run a first line of Ben, Sagan, Pavelski.
Yeah.
Gross.
Yeah. And then if Corey Perry can be 70% of Corey Perry, he can't be as bad as what he was, right? Like,
also, what was it? How much did he sign for? I can't.
It wasn't much, was it? I didn't really see it.
It wasn't much, but regardless, like
he's still an asshole
for a exact 1.5 million for a depth in a third line at
really
best.
Good fourth line player. If that's where he ends up.
Exactly. Yeah. Of just being a tool on the ice. Like you're going to be
total dickhead that can put the puck in the net, and he has a Hart Trophy, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So Semyon Varlamov leaves Colorado because Grubauer is their starter, and he goes to the New York Islanders at 4 years, $5 million. And then the Islanders goalie, Robin Lehner, now signed with the Chicago Blackhawks, a 1 year, $5 million deal.
It's a weird situation for Lehner, too.
I think it's a good situation for Lehner.
Yeah, no, not the whole Chicago thing, just like everything that went down in New York.
That's why I kind of lumped them together because, like, I think Robin Lehner's a better goalie.
He was definitely a better goalie last year. And I think what it was is he finally had his head cleared, and like they were actually dealing with like all the mental health problems he had, and I think he's finally just starting to get on a clearer path, which I think is really big for him because he's kind of a woohoo when it comes to the mental side of the game. But if you can clear that up and continue to do that, then he's definitely the better goalie.
And also the fact that Corey Crawford, who the hell knows?
That guy could retire in 10 minutes, and I wouldn't be surprised.
That's what I mean. Like, if you told me it was a Marian Hossa situation again, like, of course, everyone's helping out the Blackhawks, but he could be their long-term starter.
Why not? You take this tryout deal, essentially.
I would arguably say he's their starter right now.
I would definitely put him as a starter right now, but
because when Crawford came back, he was not good.
Because I don't think he ever actually came back. He was just there.
Yeah. What's the next one that we have on the list?
Zuccarello?
Yeah, Zook signing 5 years, $6 million per year. That was weird.
Yeah. It's not bad. It's not horrible. It's just neutral.
He was really good. Well, was he good for Dallas? I can't remember. I think he was.
He was, and then he got hurt.
Yeah.
He was good for a couple games, and then he got hurt. But I don't know.
I don't understand what Minnesota's doing.
You're not competing.
You trade Granlund for Fiala.
You dumped at the trade deadline, no? Like,
yep.
What's his name? Went to Boston there. Coyle?
Oh, Charlie Coyle. Yeah.
Like, you were selling, and now what are you doing?
You get a in his prime, past his prime player of
who's gonna
Matt Zuccarello.
He's gonna come in and make you the Minnesota Wild. You're gonna continue to be good, but not great.
A mediocre player. Yeah, a mediocre.
Like, yeah,
team.
you might squeak into the playoffs, and then you're gonna lose in the first round. Like, what are you trying to be? That's weird.
And he's 31 right now. He'll be 32 at the start of the season. This contract's going to take him up till his age 37 season.
Yeah, that's weird.
Not great.
Not a good deal.
Not happy, Bob. Not happy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Minnesota Wild are very good at doing this part of the game, but oh well. Not my problem.
No, they're very not my problem.
Yep.
Let me pull up some of the trades that happened. There was the Colin Miller trade,
which
that happened, which I was like, damn, why couldn't we do that?
We missed one of the bigger free agent signings. Ronald Hainsey.
Oh, yeah.
I assume
$3.5 million.
That's a lot for him, man.
Holy.
I'm going to miss the guy. He was a good leader.
Yeah.
Terrible defenseman. Terrible first pair. Terrible first pair.
I don't
defenseman.
think terrible. If he played on the third pair, we would have all been fine with it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He played on Pittsburgh's third pair, and it was like, yeah, Ron Hainsey. But now it's just like, oh shit.
Yeah. Ottawa Maple Leafs.
Oh, what a turnover the Leafs had in their bottom six. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Just complete overhaul of like this bottom half of their team.
The third line is gone. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Let's go over some trades. There was the Calvin DeHaan trade, which sucked
that went
because
to
Carolina just gave him away.
Yeah. Who came back in that deal? I just heard DeHaan went to Chicago.
Anton Forsberg, the goalie, and Gustav Forsling.
The Carolina goalie situation is wild.
Who'd they sign?
Reimer. They traded for Reimer. That's it.
Oh, they re-signed Mrazek,
Did they?
though.
Woo!
Yeah, who knows?
That'll be fun. They'll find a way. They did this year. They'll find a way.
I like the Eric Holla trade.
What was that one?
Carolina getting Eric Holla for a conditional fifth and Nicholas Roy.
I don't hate that. It's a good pickup for them.
Colin Miller for a second and fifth round pick. Love that trade for
Vegas
Buffalo.
is still in some cap trouble.
Buffalo's going to be nasty.
Yeah, they also picked up thingy from New York there.
Oh, Jimmy Vesey for a third.
Yeah.
Yep.
They'll be good. They got a lot of money locked up in Jesus Christ.
Eichel.
Not even Eichel. No, keep going. They just signed him.
How long ago? Jeff Skinner.
Thank you. Holy Jesus. It's been a long time since I've watched hockey. Yeah, they got a lot of money locked up there. It's tough.
You know what? I was looking at this team, and then I was like, after the first line, I'm
it's
like,
not deep.
Yeah. All right,
I don't hate
Skinner, Eichel, Reinhart.
Unbelievable.
Sick.
Unreal.
First line. Second line: Casey Middlestat, Kyle Poser, Connor.
Middlestat.
Sheary. That is a third line.
Yeah, Middlestat could be a second liner. Okposo
could be.
Sheary,
he was not. He was bad last year.
Was he?
Third line of Evan Rodriguez,
Sheary's
Jimmy Vesey, and Victor Olofsson.
Create a player.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Fourth line of Zemgus Girgensson, Vladimir Sobotka, and Johan Larsson.
Okay, that is the European line, eh?
Now, the defense is disgusting, in my opinion. Their right side is disgusting, in my opinion. Ristolainen, Montour, Colin Miller.
Mm-hmm. Ooh,
and then Darlene, McCabe, Scandello.
Kind of falls off after Dahlin, but not bad.
Yes. I still like Ristolainen. I know that analytics people absolutely hate him. I would trade for Ristolainen.
Yeah, depending on the price.
Here's Cody Ceci and a second round pick.
Sign and trade?
No,
because he's still a free agent technically.
No, but you can give it. You can trade an RFA.
Right, but like you kind of want the certainty that he's going to stay if you're
second round pick.
Yeah.
Well, you have arbitration.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like him on the lease because he's also a bigger guy, except he doesn't use his bigness. But I don't know. I still like the potential there.
Yeah. Any other trades?
Andre Burakovsky finally got traded
to
Colorado.
Colorado might be good. That might be an understatement.
I mean, they should be good. They were good last year.
Yeah, they might be better. Like, I know you lost Tyson Barrie, but now you have Cale Makar a full year.
Connor Timmins.
Yeah. Hey, man, I don't know. There's a couple other guys in their
on
system.
Colorado.
Yeah, I can't recall names. I'm gonna pull
Samuel
it up.
Girard.
Sam Girard's down there, right? But yeah, they
on defense or
just
what?
In general in their system. Like, there's some names, but like
Tyson Jost.
Yost hasn't really been great though. Like, he's been there.
Yeah, but you can hope for.
Maybe he turns it around. Losing Kerfoot's kind of.
I mean,
they got Belmar now. I kind of like that. Belmar's a
fourth line center.
Really good fourth line center.
Yeah.
I'm on the wrong website for this.
Well, basically, it's the first line of disgusting, and then Kadri, Jost, Burakovsky. Meh. Kadri is far and away the best player on that line.
Their forward depth.
You gotta find another second liner.
Yeah, their forward depth is meh, but they try.
Yeah. They traded for Donskoy.
Was it Donskoy? That's They made some big pickups, man. Like, I don't hate it. Where are the names I'm looking for?
Andrew Shaw back to Chicago. That was He scored 55 points or something last year.
Martin Kaut was the other name I was looking for. Played for the Czechs.
And then
really good.
Oh, okay. And then the big trade, Galchenyuk and Pierre-Olivier Joseph for Dan Burks and a 4th round pick and some guy named Phil Kessel.
2-time Stanley Cup champion named Phil Kessel. Yeah. Shane Bowers is also there in Colorado. Just looking all this up now. Yeah, I don't know what the hell Pittsburgh's doing.
I hate it. And this guy just got inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, because he's done a great job, and then all of a sudden he just he lost his mind. He did a really good job until last year, because twice he fired a coach and then won the Stanley Cup. And
okay, so firing,
but like,
a coach
he did it at the right
time,
and then he made some moves. Like, he brought in Phil, he made some other moves, and like, he's always dealt with like guys getting hurt. Like, their star defenseman had a stroke at one point, and they were fine without him. But I don't know what the hell happened to him. Guy loses his mind, and not a very good GM the last year and a half. The Kessel deal makes 0 sense to me.
I agree. Maybe they like Pierre-Olivier Joseph. He was a 1st round pick.
Good. He's not Phil Kessel. I know there's some animosity between Kessel and Sullivan, I've heard.
Yeah, where he was like...
And like, I don't think there's a teammate issue. Like, he seems to get along with everybody. But...
Arizona has a team of professionals now. Like, listen to this team. Christian Dvorak, Derek Stepan, Kessel, Grabner, Schmaltz, Keller, Grabner.
Grabner's playing twice, eh?
They've Grabner twice.
Grabner's all over it.
Well, yeah, he's on the second and third line.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's gonna play on 2 lines at once. What a weapon! Holy shit! Good for him. He's fast, but I don't think he's that fast.
No, I don't think so. But like, Brad Richardson on your 4th line, like, I think their defense is solid. OEL, Demers, Chikrin, Jormelson. Goligoski.
Who's their goalie?
They're a good team. And if
Kemper,
Darcy
bro.
Kemper is what he was last year,
Ranta, if
Raanta-
he's healthy, looked really good.
bro, Kemper was
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah,
towards
so
the
I
end
mean,
of
the team could be
year.
good. I think they could be a playoff team. I said that
They
last
could.
year, and they were close, but they didn't quite cut it in the end. But they also lost everybody for the whole season. It was stupid. But if they stay healthy, they could definitely be a playoff team. Are they a contender? No. But it'll be fun hockey in Arizona. It's cool.
Yeah.
All 400 fans out there will love it.
That's all the deals that we have
Yeah.
to talk about, really.
Thank you, NHL, for
So-
an interesting Canada Day.
I mean, it still pales in comparison to the NBA offseason because that has been
Wild.
legitimately insane. And it's coming out now that Kawhi is not making a decision
Okay, good.
today.
So we're not going to get screwed over at the end of this, which is great. He did meet with Toronto today, though, right? That was the thing.
Yep. I mean, fucking helicopters are chasing
Yeah.
him like it was O.J. Simpson.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I don't know.
I think he
I was just
resigns.
about to ask.
Seeing Jalen Rose's report.
I don't trust
that,
anyone anymore. Can we
that-
just put that out there? Because,
until he
I don't
signs,
trust
like-
anyone. I don't care who you are, unless you're Adrian Wojner. I don't know how to say the rest of his name. Then I don't trust you.
Woj
Maybe Chris Haynes.
or
Yeah.
or Shams.
Actually, I don't really trust Chris Haynes either because he said last year that Kawhi doesn't want to play in Toronto, and
Well, I mean, he didn't want to play in
Yeah.
Toronto,
he had no desire though,
Like-
and he still came here and played.
but he
still
didn't have
came
any
here
desire.
and played, and he won a fucking.
Well, because he's a
won
professional,
Oh, dude,
and he's gonna
didn't play for
stay
the Spurs.
here.
Ah,
Yeah,
sorry, Spurs fans.
yeah. I don't know. I think he resigns. I hope he resigns.
It'll be a really fun year.
We'll
if he
see.
does. There's some competitive teams this year.
And it feels like we never really got to celebrate fully
No,
winning
because
the
we're so
title.
worried about this. Yeah.
Exactly. And people are like, "Oh well, if we win the title, he'll stay, and then if you win the title, he'll leave because he's done everything
Yeah,
that you've asked of him."
yeah.
And
It's a lose-lose. Mhm.
situation. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've had people talk like walking me off the cliff because I'm like, "Man, he's leaving. Like
Yeah.
he's stay. Like it's just been a shit.
Realistically,
time.
if he leaves, so be it, man. Like we got our title. I'll be happy for a while.
Agreed. Oh, I don't. Kawhi's not gonna be hated
No,
if he
God,
leaves
no.
in the
No.
slightest.
He's gonna get a standing
Like,
ovation every time he steps through that door.
If he goes to the
I'm gonna be
Lakers,
pissed.
yeah, I'm just gonna be pissed
Yeah.
at the Lakers, not
No.
at Kawhi. I'm gonna be pissed at LeBron and Anthony
I'm
Davis.
already pissed at LeBron.
Okay,
Fuck that
Anthony
guy.
Anthony Davis, he waived his $4 million
Yeah, fuck
trade
that
kicker.
guy.
Who the fuck would waive $4 million for no reason?
He wants to win a title.
Like
Fuck that guy.
here's a free $4
Fuck
million.
those All of them. I hate it.
There's definitely gonna be something shady in
I hope all
Space
this
Jam
happens and
stuff.
they end up with no one. Like they get nothing.
I agree.
Because there's what's left. Like
Agreed.
I saw a lot of names go down, but like who's left?
Danny Green,
Okay, but
DeMarcus Cousins.
yeah, okay. Great. Woohoo.
Yeah.
So
No,
what?
I-
You get Cousins back
I-
and you're back to what was it, New Orleans when they were together?
Basically, yeah.
That worked out well.
Except you have LeBron
Yeah, okay.
James.
Sure. But it's not the same DeMarcus Cousins. Danny Green, that's a weapon. Love the guy, but
So the thing is, like, I mean, with LeBron, that would be awesome, just a shooter
Sure.
around him. But so there's an interesting scenario to where if Kawhi stays, then Danny will stay probably.
Mm-hmm.
But if he goes to the Lakers, then the Lakers are out basically for Danny Green
Okay.
because they don't have the money.
right.
The Clippers are still a possibility. Like, it's weird. It's weird, like, where he could get paid the most. Like, if Kawhi goes to the Clippers, then the Lakers can offer him big money
Yeah.
to be there. I mean, it can't be lost in all of this that, like, Danny's like, I'll wait on my money, and he's probably had offers of like 4 years, 30 million or something, like a mid-level
Yeah.
exception, except a long-term deal.
Yeah.
To where he's like, no, I'd rather just take a 1 year, $8 million deal from the Raptors.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
I think the
To just
I
run
think
it
the
back.
funniest thing I've seen. I'm assuming you liked it or retweeted it, but it was just like
Probably.
we know exactly what type of dipping sauce the Clippers fed Kawhi.
Oh, what the
and every sentence that LeBron said to him, but we know literally nothing about what's going on in Toronto. I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
And then you see, okay, so the one thing is, let's bitch. I'm gonna bitch out a little bit at CP20 over. What the fuck are you doing?
What did they do now?
Act like you've been there before. What the hell is this? Helicopters, like, look, it's not a car chase. Like in LA, there's car chases every day, right? In Canada, there's never one that like you'll see on local TV or anything. And then you see this, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why are you so bait, CP24? Why?
Well, there's nothing else going on. What else are you going to cover?
So then later in the day, it was like City Hall is under lockdown because there's a shooter inside or something. And then I think it was Jeff Viet that's like, why don't you cover this CP24 instead? And then like 8 seconds later they did. So it's like, good save. But like,
that's funny.
There's other shit always going on.
Yeah, it's a little ridiculous. It's going to... realistically, there's no sense in talking about it no matter who you are until he signs because that shit's not getting leaked. Like, you can just be like, he's good. One day, 10 minutes at a time, he could be going to either the Clippers, the Lakers, or the Raptors.
I think if I'm ranking it, though, right now, it's Raps 1, Lakers 2.
That's
Clippers
I don't
3.
disagree, but it could take 2 hours and it could be Clippers, Lakers, Raps. And would you be surprised?
True. No.
It's a ridiculous situation. The guy is a unicorn. You know nothing about him.
To be honest, though, if he goes to the Clippers, it just doesn't make sense.
Sure, I don't disagree. But you could just take another team to the finals and win again, and just like.
But you're not.
But
that team's not good around you.
You
like they're just solid.
But you have Kawhi.
But
Kawhi
you go to the Lakers and you just win.
Yeah, but that's boring. He's not KD.
But you're on the Lakers.
Yeah,
the Lakers. Yeah. Remember that guy?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of over the whole situation, to be honest. We'll see in a week or so if he's here, and if not, we'll just wait another week.
I'll record emergency pod, and if any of you guys are available, I'll get you guys on, or I'll get someone related to me on, and we'll hash it out. But I think that's it, right? Yes? No?
Yeah.
Oh. All right, anyways, so
we've been going a while if you include the two of them together. Yeah.
It's 2 hours and 42 minutes.
Oh.
If we see a total. So anyways, let's wrap it up here.
Guys.
This is the A Sports Podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.